We were almost in the radiation zone. We were driving. I'm like, dude, I'm going to run out of gas. So I jump out of my car. I then hop in Jake and Raz's car. And Jake's like, dude, I don't know if we're going to make it. We have less than a quarter tank. We're going full speed. We don't have time to stop at a gas station. We're in the radiation zone. The chopper's landed. Our timer is, I think, less than 30 seconds at that point. This truck rolls up from the back of it. You can already hear and see the guys VoIPing.
Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, episode number 317. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I'm joined by young Tanner, Dropshot, and we are going to be discussing the demilitarized zone. In a shocking twist and turn of events.
Really?
Yeah.
What we're doing?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, man.
So that's going to be interesting, fun, and exciting. So, yes, today, DMZ, that's the ep we're doing. We had written in the schedule, I believe, that we were going to be doing some more season 3 speculation or maybe a Q&A if there was nothing else to talk about. But we've also been playing a lot of DMZ. Tell us about that while my dog barks.
Yeah, we've been playing DMZ, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know what we were going to do. We kind of thought maybe if some info came out after our news pod, we could do something about season 3, but we covered it all. And yeah, we played quite a few raids of DMZ this week. We'll give you the disclaimer when we get into the actual episode. But yeah, that's what we decided to do instead of Q&A or something. So we wanted to get this episode out now before it's too late, because if Warzone's actually decent in season 3, then we're probably not going back to play it much. So
yes,
we had one chance to do it, and here it is.
That is correct. I which I think is the biggest point. We've been playing DMZ. We'll get more into that in a second. And if we didn't do an episode now, it would probably never happen. If it would be in a long fucking time. So this is a perfect little pocket of opportunity. Yeah. As the expression goes, the pocket of opportunity for us to talk about it. So yeah, that is today's episode. Now, another thing I'd like to add as well, because many of you listening have not played DMZ, do not want to play DMZ, don't find it interesting, don't want to hear about it. Okay, and let me tell you, I need on the soundboard that the stopping sound effect.
Oh yeah.
The tire skidding.
Or I could just do no, never mind. I thought I had a stop thing. I don't.
We have I
have this. It's jump starting, kick starting.
Quiet.
That's the only type of stop thing I have. I guess you can consider that
one. But anyway, yeah, but you might, not play DMZ. I think most of you probably don't, although a number of you do, or at least have. And if you don't, you might not be interested in this episode. We'll get into the disclaimer now, I guess. Tanner and I are not DMZ mains. And much like you, we were not interested in it at all fucking 2 weeks ago before we really started playing it. We played maybe 5 raids or less in total when the game came out. Between the game coming out and 2 weeks ago, we played 5 raids or less total. So we played very little of it, and that was enough to kind of get us completely off of that train. So take it from 2 people who play COD to shoot other real ass players. Yeah. There's more to DMZ than you might think. And I think, again, as I had been saying in our last episode, whether or not you play DMZ, I think you're going to find this episode pretty interesting. If you have not played DMZ, you're going to learn a lot. And if you're, again, not interested in it because it's not enough action or whatever, I think you're going to be surprised and you to get our perspective. Because our perspective is very different. So one thing, there are a lot of reasons that we did not care about DMZ. Our first impressions were not good. One of the big reasons wasn't much PvP, if any. And another reason was that it seemed very pointless without an out of raid inventory or anything.
There was also the server issues early on. The few times we had played it, I think almost every time one of us had crashed at some point too, and you can't load back in. So that's another frustrating part of it.
Yes, and that also contributed to there being no PvP. Because if one of us is crashing, there's a bunch of other people crashing. So now our DMZ experience, in the last week, has been way different than on launch. A lot of things have changed with DMZ. I don't know what exactly, to be honest. I know a lot's changed, but I don't know what those things are really, because we haven't been playing to memorize all of those things.
I think the AI behavior has been the biggest thing. Do you remember how annoying they were at first? They would insta-down you. Point. That was the most frustrating part. There were a million of them, and they would insta-down you. That was just completely ruined the mode. That alone will do it. So
yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. Almost the biggest actually change from when we played it week 1 to last week is that before, early on, every little cluster of AI would have at least one armored dude. If not, they're all armored, everywhere in random spots. Now there are armored people only in the strongholds and the black sites and the fucking key card places. You're not going to find an armored guy randomly. They only exist at particular locations.
I feel like there were some at other locations, but they weren't very common like they used to be. It used to be every single AI basically was armored, I feel like. I think they're still randomly placed around, just not a bunch of them outside of strongholds or something.
Maybe? I don't remember seeing any. At a gas station or something. I don't think they spawn armored dudes anymore. Maybe they do in I don't know. To way less of a degree. But either way, that is a big plus, because before it was just holy shit, you're wasting so much time shooting AI. Now you can actually just one tap their heads, because they're not armored and they don't have that much health. So that's a one-shot headshot with pretty much any gun. Definitely with an AR, I was doing that. And if you use, here's a little pro tip for you, by the way. If you use a marksman rifle like the Tempest Torrent or an LMS, it is a one-shot kill on a non-armored full health AI anywhere on the body. So this is a very good way to not have to deal with AI. Is to get a Tempest Torrent or an LMS or maybe an EBR, but I wouldn't recommend it. One of those two I think is the best. Semi-auto, marksman rifle, 20-round mag. You can just shoot an AI anywhere and it dies. And then the armored ones, it's 2 shots or 3 maybe. So that was a great help to our enjoyment of the mode. But anyway, we're going to get more into specifics here. So we have a lot of notes here. Tanner has broken this down into things we like, things we don't like, and then general observations. And before we get into that, a little bit of a disclaimer. How much have we played? Tanner's written 10 to 12 hours so far, besides the first week. So excluding our very initial few raids in the first couple weeks of the game, we have played, I would say about 12 hours so far. We've been very focused on doing missions, because if you're not doing the DMZ missions, then at that point you might as well go play Warzone. I would still stand by that. That gives you something to do, gives you something to go for, and it makes it interesting. Sorry, I had to write something down.
I already wrote about that.
Okay. So yeah, we played like 12 hours. We've completed all the tier 1 missions. I think we've completed all tier 2 missions of a particular faction.
Yeah, Crown or something.
Yeah,
we have, yeah.
Crown or the second one? Legion? One of those two we've done all the tier 2 missions for. And then we've done quite a few of the... Oh, no. What's the fourth one? The fourth faction.
It's Legion, Crown, White Lotus, and Black whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what order they're in.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
One of them we haven't touched much for tier 2 yet.
And one of them we haven't unlocked at all yet.
Well, that's because, that's the one you have to unlock tier 2 from one of them, and then it starts unlocking those missions. Or is it tier 3? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Either way, we've done quite a few of the missions. All the tier 1s, or most of the tier 1s, most of the tier 2s. I don't think we've done any tier 3 missions yet, but we're already starting to see gradations in terms of that. And then for the 12 hours or so that we've played in the last week, we played primarily Moz, and we've done a couple of Ashika Island raids. I would say we've done like 5. 5
at the
max.
Absolute most. Yeah. It was probably less than. I actually think we did 3.
Well, we've gotten wiped a couple times. Yeah, I don't know. But we played way more Moz than Ashika Island, but we have played some Ashika Island DMZ as well. So there's your disclaimer. That's how much we've played. Did I miss anything on that?
No, I don't think so.
So now we're going to start with things we like. And these are in no particular order. Starting with the missions. What are your thoughts on the missions?
Yeah, I think the mission structure has been pretty good so far, actually. So the tier 1 missions were like incredibly easy, very easy. It's like open 3 cash registers, find $10,000. They're extremely easy to do. And then by the time you get to tier 2, they're already getting slightly more difficult. They're still not difficult. They're just more than anything, I guess, more time consuming. Instead of like tier 1 missions, you easily can finish all 3 in one raid. Simple. Tier 2 requires you to go everywhere more. So you have to do things on Ashika. You have to do some things on Moz. I think there's already some tier 2 missions that are go to building 21 and do some shit. So it gets you going all over the place versus tier 1 is pretty much seemed like all basic ass, mostly Moz missions. There's probably some of those were Ashika as well, but they're easy.
You could do them on Ashika, but I don't think any of the tier 1 missions that you have right away require Ashika.
Yeah, I don't think any of them were specific, which is good. You should kind of play one map first.
Story missions or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of like go there, and that's where we started for the first time. I don't know, but and then so we looked up some tier 5 missions. Every group, I believe every single one so far has up to tier 5 missions, and they sound extremely time consuming, and some of them sound difficult. And I'm actually a big fan of that because it keeps people who enjoy the mode. It does give you something to keep playing for to do those missions, because it goes from, tier 1 completing, like I said, 3 faction missions in one raid easily to tier 5 missions. You're like, some of these you make 10% progress in one raid probably for one faction mission. Like they are very time consuming, and I like that. And I doubt there's a single person in the world who's done every DMZ mission, because the DMZ players, not great. I'll be honest, we'll talk more about that later. They're not great. So I don't think anyone's finished every tier mission. I bet you they haven't.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Yeah. A couple other things about the missions. I agree. I do like the mission structure a lot. I think they did. So based on what I've played so far, disclaimer, I think they've done it pretty fucking well. A lot of the tier 1 missions are designed to teach you how DMZ works, and those were unironically helpful in getting us to understand how the mode works, which is what you want. So you can either create a tutorial where you enter some instanced zone and do things that are designed to teach you how DMZ works, or you can fuse it into the game where the only missions you can do at first are by virtue of doing the mission, you learn how the mode works. So for example, buy a weapon a contraband weapon from a buy station, sell valuables worth $1,000 at a buy station.
Yeah.
Buy the truck with the fucking gun on the back at a buy station. These are some of the tier 1 missions. And some of those things, like, we didn't know we could do. And we wouldn't have known for a very long time unless it was a mission. Particularly the buying a fucking car with a gun on it. That thing fucks, by the way. It's like a good ass vehicle. It's an armored Humvee with a mounted 50 cal on the back. It's really good, especially for DMZ. You can fuck other people up too, but your head's exposed, so there's some worry there. But it's like actually good for PvP too. We've definitely killed real ass players with that mounted thing. And I just wouldn't have known that was an item still on the buy station. I would have never looked, without that being a mission. So that's very cool. And that's probably even more helpful for people less familiar with like COD or DMZ or something.
People who haven't played Warzone and shit, even like not even understanding what a buy station is, or Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is like people who haven't even played Warzone, like they're not familiar with buys. Like I knew what a buy station was already. So like if you're like from multiplayer straight to DMZ, you've never played Warzone, you need all that. So that's very cool that they do it that way. I think another one's like hit a UAV tower and hit a SAM site. I didn't know SAM sites existed. Those are dope. It basically shoots down any choppers that come around the area.
I'm pretty sure also...
And planes.
Hitting a SAM site will spawn a supply chopper that it will then shoot down. And then it drops a supply crate where you can get a bunch of really good shit out of it.
I wonder. Yeah, I don't know how that works, because when we were playing Moz, there's usually a chopper starts coming over quickly. Like within 2 minutes, I think there's a chopper flying over, and it seems to be that way every time. So I think they are just random supply drops. Honestly, there's just like maybe 3 or 4 of them in one raid that drop, and the SAM site. Well, I don't know, because it's dropping it anyways. I think there is a different one, though, because there's a different icon for a supply drop. It says supply drop when you hover over it. And then there's a different one that when the SAM shoots it down, it shows like a SAM turret or like the SAM missile icon on the supply drop or something. So I think they are... Yeah, I don't know, actually.
If it drops anything without it being shot down.
Well, the regular supply drops do, because they say supply drop coming overhead and it drops it. And then it definitely, there are 2 different icons for supply drops, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Well, either way, I would probably never know what a SAM site is. And like what it does without that mission. So that's like cool that they do it that way. And as you progress, there are actually some missions. There are some missions that are like actually really hard. One of them, for example, we were looking it up, is extract with a backpack full of dog tags. And based on how many people are in a lobby, that's like a lot of PvP to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So like I have some of these tier 5 missions pulled up. They get insane. Like complete 8 hunt squad contracts without dying. Not in one raid, but that's doing 8. That's basically going to Warzone, doing 8 bounties in a row without dying. Not in one match, it can be spread over, but that's a lot. They're just... What was another one here? Open 5 supply drops in one deployment. Complete 8 contracts and 8 different POIs in one deployment. Holy shit. How do you even have time to do that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. These are crazy. That's why there's no way any DMZ player in the world has completed all these faction missions. They get fucking difficult. In fact, I think way too difficult for what this mode is, but it gives those people a reason to keep playing because they have copium and they think they're going to be good enough to complete the missions. They aren't, but they have hope and it keeps them playing the game.
Yeah. So yeah, there are some like genuinely difficult missions and, in the future, but even some of the ones we've done have been difficult. Like there's one mission we still haven't done yet where you have to go to Ashika Island and hack the Wheelson. And it's like this Wheelson that's like patrolling the castle and you have to run up to it and hack it. And that's like hard to do. So the play there is to run a DDoS field upgrade so that you like short circuit it for a second so it stops shooting you and moving, and then you run up to it and hack it. But also, there's a ton of AI around the castle. There's a ton of fucking booby traps around the castle.
Sentry turrets, prox mines.
Dude, it's all kinds of shit. And there's a lot of players there too. So like when we tried to do it, we ended up just dying because we didn't know we didn't know how heavily trapped it was. And then we got like third partied. But also like there was one contract we had, or mission that we had. Those are different. Missions you accept out of raid. Contracts are like Warzone contracts. You pick it up in the raid, you do it in the raid. Yeah, there's one mission where you go to Al Mazrah, you find some car crash, you pick up an item, and then you extract with the item, and then you have to then load in to Ashika Island with the item in your backpack, and then put the item into a dead drop on Ashika. So you literally can't do that mission in one raid. That's kind of cool. And in that raid, we went on to Maz, we got the laptop or whatever, we loaded out, and we were like, all right, I'm bringing it into Ashika. And Ashika, a lot more PvP. You're going to see a lot more players than on Al Mazrah. It's a smaller map. Like every raid we've seen people actually on Ashika Island. So you're like, okay, actually use like a good loadout with good guns. Don't use your dog shit contraband basilisk here, because we need to not die, because I don't want to have to go pick up the laptop again. So then we spawn into Ashika, and sure enough, it was hot as shit. We had to kill a team, but we survived, and then we dropped off the thing. And there was like something to lose there. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially for like a tier 2 mission. And that was probably my biggest complaint about DMZ early on, is because when you extract with items that are worth a lot of money, it just converts it to XP, that it doesn't really matter if you find something rare or whatever. And that gives it no risk. There's no stakes. There are no stakes, really, was the feeling. But with these faction missions, there can be stakes. That's one example. I'm sure there would be more as you continue to progress through the missions, but the stakes don't exist in the same way they do in Tarkov. But there are still stakes, like that example, which I was pleasantly surprised by, because that Ashika raid was really fun, and that fight in the waterway was like, my blood was pumping, dude. Because I didn't want to fucking die. I didn't want to have to go spend another 30 minutes loading back into fucking Maz to get the goddamn laptop again. And that was fun. Yeah. That's what makes it fun. So there are some stakes. We were wrong about that, we hadn't gone far enough, or that type of mission didn't exist before. But yeah. Well,
we were talking about stakes originally, it was more losing your gear doesn't matter, which it really still doesn't matter, and it's going to matter less in season 3, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it's like losing your gun. Like, extracting with valuables essentially converts it to XP and lowers your cooldown timer for your insured weapon slot, which is only like an hour to start with. So it's easy to get your insured weapon slot back, which is your custom gun that you can change at any time.
Right.
But yeah. But yeah, moving on more on the missions. I like that tier missions share progress with the squad mates if you all have the same selected mission. So out of all the faction missions in the game, this I'm still not sure how I feel, but you have to select 3 of them that you want to complete. I kind of think I should be able to do whatever fucking missions I want in one raid. If I can complete 10 in one raid, why not let me do that? You know? But they don't, so it doesn't matter. But so you have to choose 3. So if you and your squad mates go in, you have 3 missions selected. You guys are all working together on those missions, and everything you do as a squad counts towards that tier mission. So, for example, there's a tier 2 mission that requires you to get 1 kill, which is on an AI or a player, with 9 different weapon categories in a single match. So Jake, Raz, and I had to sit there and figure out exactly how we're going to do this. It has to be in one raid. So we're like, okay, we need to bring in all these weapon platforms. I have my custom slot available so I can make a pistol. I don't have a shotgun, this or that. So we had to figure out exactly how we were going to do it. But basically the way that works is you go in and each person gets essentially their 3 kills with their weapon platform, and then that quest is done. That quest without having shared progression would be basically not possible. And that's the way these quests are designed the way they work, because they want you to play with others, so it does share quest progression. So if that didn't exist, they probably wouldn't make that mission. But having to do 9 different kills with different weapon platforms in one raid, that's like not possible to do if you're solo. You just can't, or if there's no shared progression. So I do think it is a good thing that they added the shared progression in. There's another one that requires like 4 kills while underwater on Almazra. So you have to bring in a pistol. So I built a custom pistol. Jake and Raz baited AI to the river when we were in downtown and kept live pinging everyone. Well, I would pop up and down in the water. It's hard to shoot people out of the water. You have to be under it, not just floating in the water. You have to be under it and kill the AI on the land. And it takes, you're using a pistol shooting through water, so it takes like actually 15 bullets to kill one unarmored AI. So like we had to do that. That would be so not fun to do if every person had to do that 4 times. So basically, I'm glad they had the shared progression. I think it creates more teamwork in general. The only downside of this, which we'll get into later, is I think it makes players just want to squad up more and make 6-man groups, which you can only spawn in as 3, but then you can group up in game and have a max of 6. And I think it makes a lot of people want to just team up to make it easier on themselves to get quests like that done. I think that's the only downside to it.
Yeah. I'll add this too, though. If there wasn't shared progress, I would have already given up on doing missions, if not playing altogether. Because exactly. Like, it would be so miserable. And if you're trying to play with like a dedicated squad, like you, me, and Jake have been like the 3 DMZ players, and we've been like doing every mission together. And like, if one of us didn't pick a mission or picked the wrong one, we would just select only 2 out of 3 slot missions to do in the next raid because we want to stay together.
Yeah, so then we can catch up. Yeah, right. The other person can catch up.
And if there wasn't shared progress, it would take so long to get anywhere that I just wouldn't do it. Like I would have given up by now. Yeah. It would be so fucking awful and miserable. And I think there's a way to do that well, which I think they've done, which is just to design the missions to be done by 3 people. Yeah. Like the 9 different weapon platform or categories in one raid. Like that's obviously it's 3 times 3. Like that's designed for a 3-man to do together. So I like it overall, the shared progress. I think it's especially for what DMZ is too, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's
agree.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one issue I do agree with you is that it makes kids want to team up. But I think, which we are going to get into, the bigger problem there is just allowing people to team up at all. It's not so much a problem of the shared mission progress. It's a problem of the assimilation trash.
Yeah, which everyone wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, and then so mission variety and contract variety in game overall, I think is excellent. There are plenty of different things to do. And as I already said, with the higher difficulty, the ramps of difficulty and higher tier missions, I think players who enjoy DMZ will always be grinding it to try to do those missions. But yeah, the contracts in game are excellent too. You know, you can do like intel contracts, which require you to go a bunch of different places and like go up climb a tower and wait for the computer to finish uploading data and this and that. What was the bounty mission? So that requires you to kill an AI bounty, right? Yeah.
So there's like a HVT, like a hunt high value target contract.
Yeah.
Where you kill hostage, like a commander or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hostage one's different. And then there's also a separate contract. It's called, I think, just Hunt. And it's a different icon than the Warzone bounty, which is the same icon as Kill AI, which makes no sense. Change it. But anyway, the skull icon, that contract is just a Warzone bounty contract. It pings another real ass player, and your contract is to kill them in like 5 minutes or whatever. It's a generous timer because it's DMZ.
And everyone runs away from you,
and everyone will sprint away from you. Not once has someone even stayed still. They always run. They don't even camp buildings. They just run away. It's crazy.
They run away as far as they can. Yeah, they're petrified.
Which we'll get into. But the fact that contract exists is really good. Yeah, I agree. The safe drilling shit, I don't know if that's part of a contract. I know you can drill safes without a contract.
That's not a contract. Yeah, you drill a safe. Yeah.
That takes way too long. That pisses me off. Cut the timer in half. But
oh, dude, it's a thick safe. They got to get through it.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. The mission variety in particular is very surprisingly good. Like there was one mission I thought was really cool, which was extract with 2 cast-off weapon platform weapons. That was one of the objectives. Kill 10 enemies with it. Kill 1 commander with it. And then kill 2 real-ass players with it. All with a cast-off weapon platform.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
That's a well-designed mission. The central theme there is the weapon platform, and you have to kill every other type of enemy in the game with a cast-off. Very cool mission. Very cool style mission. You know?
Yeah, wasn't it even like kill Shadow Company too? So it was like kill like normal AI.
Kill 5 Shadow Company.
Yeah, and those are not everywhere. You kind of have to find them or just go play a Sheikah, and it's basically, I think, every AI on a Sheikah. But yeah, I agree. That was interesting. I think the best in-game contract was the hostage rescue one, where you go clear out an area, you have to literally physically pick up the hostage, and that creates an exfil chopper that comes in. So instead of going to the exfil locations, if you want to just get out of the raid and that contract's next to you or something and you want XP, you have something good to get out with, instead of driving 1,000 meters across the map to one of the 3 exfil choppers, you can do that, get the hostage, bring him to the chopper. You can either drop the hostage off and get out and they fly away with it and your contract's over, or you stay in the helicopter and that's a way to extract and then you're out of that match. And that's the only way you can get a chopper like that to come in on its own, is by doing that specific contract. So the variety there is excellent, I think. Really good.
That is a well-designed contract too, where you can either choose to exfil there or not. That's a cute little, it's a neat little idea, and it could come in handy. We haven't had to do it yet, but we
did that one time.
Well, yeah, but
because we were doing that for the mission, I guess. Because it told you to extract with it. And that's another good way of teaching. Like you were saying, that mission taught us that. We would have had no clue. We would have dropped the hostage off and left. We're like, all right, see a hostage. But we learned we can exfil that way because the game tells you through a mission.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, again, Warzone was the afterthought this year. They designed DMZ and said, "Oh, I guess we should make another Warzone too while we're at it. Let's just, let's use the same map we designed, make it a lot worse than DMZ." Yeah, this will be cool. Yeah. So anyways, next thing here for me, when DMZ launched, I was not a fan of the random spawns. I think we were both on record saying, you let us drop out of the chopper. That feels better for a mode like this. Choose where you want to go. But I came around on that. And I think it is a really good feature to spawn you at random locations, because it means if I jumped out of a plane, what would we do every time? I'd land right on a chopper, and it'd make the rest of the game so easy for me. So I think that it's random spawns like Tarkov has. It balances it more, because our players would just go right into the weapon case zone. I think it would be too close to Warzone at that point. There'd be hot areas where people would just fight instead of doing the missions, which is not exactly what DMZ is designed for. The missions are the main design.
Too.
Exactly. Yep. So, and it makes you move around the map. Because we need to move around, find a vehicle off the start, then be like, oh, there's a chopper like 500 meters away, let's go drive over there, get this. The buy station locations are spread thin, so you really need to like find a vehicle to traverse the map. And if you could just immediately land on one, that kind of ruins, I think, the main part of the mode, honestly. So I really like that feature now, the random spawns. Now they are random, but only 2 spawns exist. We've spawned random, in 2 places ever.
It's a psyop. Yeah.
We spawned at the river at downtown, just south of downtown. There's that river on the other side of it.
Of the time.
I'm not kidding. Probably the last 8 times in a row we played Moz, we get that same exact spawn. So it's not exactly random. There are 2 spawns, but you at least can't choose where you go.
Yeah. I agree. If they were actually random spawns, I think that would be good. And I think you're right. Jumping out of a plane, the good thing about that would be, like, if I have a mission to do a hostage rescue contract, for example, I would like to be able to jump out of a plane, because that way I can just find the contract and get there right away. But the problems that would introduce would be numerous, and it would ruin the game mode for the casuals in particular. You could grief the fuck out of people this way, for example. So if there's some other squad who just got wiped and they don't have their vest, they don't have a gas mask, they don't have a self-res, they don't have a backpack, they don't have their insured weapon slot, and then Biffle and fucking whoever, they wouldn't play. But us, you know, with our armor vests, our like 8 self-reses, whatever, drop in, we could actually just follow them and just grief the fuck out of them. You know, which we would unironically do. I would definitely choose to do that because it's really fun. We'll get into it. So that would ruin the mode for the casuals. That would not be good. And it would create hotspots, which again would be bad for the DMZ player because they're not ready to fight off rip. They're not. So they would get farmed and then they just stop playing. So having random spawns enables Activision to control the distance when a raid starts. If you are regaining, it gives you time to regain, get some plates, get an extra gun, get an armor vest, get a gas mask, get a self-res, so that by the time you do get an engagement, you are more prepared. And I think if they didn't do random spawns, they wouldn't be able to do that. So overall, I think that's the right play for what DMZ is.
So the match ending, I'm a big fan of the way it ends. So the entire match from when you spawn in, if I'm not mistaken, there are 3 permanent exfil points, right? 3 or 4? I think it's 3.
I think it's 3.
I think there are 3 choppers.
4 max, but I think
I'm pretty sure it's just 3s. And they are random on the map. Sometimes they will all be on the east side of the map. So if you spawn on the far west side of the map, at a port or something like that, you're going to have to end up going pretty far to an exfil location later in the raid. But so those 3 are always there. There is a timer on your screen from the start of the match. I don't even know what the timer is. I've never looked at it when we first start. Probably 25 minutes or something. Yeah, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And that timer is not a countdown to the end of the match, but that is a countdown to when the radiation begins to spread. And there's a radiation zone marked on the map, and it begins to spread from there quickly. Absolutely right. Which means you'll have to get to one of those 3 exfil choppers pretty soon. So that timer, the match is not literally just ending right there and you're lost in raid. But that means, oh shit, I need to go to the exfil now or I'm going to die in a few minutes. So what happens is that starts spreading. It covers the exfil chopper zones, which you can still use, but you'll start taking a small amount of gas damage, but you can still use them. But if they're too far in the zone, I think they begin disappearing at some point. I'm not sure. But basically what happens is...
I don't know how it works, but I
don't know how long it is.
Yeah.
So they start disappearing, and it says... You get this banner across the middle of your screen so you can't see anything, and it's like, final helicopter inbound. Make your way to the exfil now. And I think that starts a 2 or 3 minute timer. And that chopper could, I think, be anywhere. Because every time we've had to use that so far, we have to drive actually like 600 meters plus to the other side of the map. It's always really far. So what happens is you start driving there. And that final chopper, the times we've experienced it so far, has players at it every single time. And that creates some really, really funny and exciting game endings. There was one game in particular when us 3 were playing. The chopper was southeast of downtown a little bit. There was
on the eastern edge of the map.
The whole thing, we were like west of oil field, and it was far east of the map. The radiation was already spreading. We were almost in the radiation zone. We were driving. I'm like, dude, I'm going to run out of gas. Oh, fuck. So I jump out of my car. I then hop in Jake and Raz's car, and Jake's like, dude, I don't know if we're going to make it. We have less than a quarter tank. Raz gas mask ran out, so he's taking ticking damage from the gas. We're going full speed. We don't have time to stop at a gas station. We're in the radiation zone. The chopper's landed. Our timer is, I think, less than 30 seconds at that point as we're driving up to like 30 meters away. This truck rolls up from the back of it. You can already hear and see the guys VoIPing, and they're like, oh, fuck. We immediately hop out, start gunning them down. I down one, I full him, and they're like, it's the same guys. It's the same fucking guys, because apparently we had killed them earlier or something. I don't know.
Yep.
We're in
They were
VoIP calling
so
them
mad.
shitters, telling them to get good. They're dog shit. Get out of our lobby. One guy, I think, ended up missing the helicopter because there was 3 of them. We fold the other one. I fold the other one. And then as we're getting out of the chopper, we're like, oh my God, that was dope. The chopper's going up in the air. It's starting to take off. Some guy starts VoIPing it and he's like, I'm getting out. They didn't see me like on the chopper. And I think he was hanging somewhere because that is something you can do. You can hang from certain areas.
We didn't see.
I think he was ledge hanging because I've seen a lot of videos of that. And so that guy apparently got out with us, but really fun game ending, really fun moment that honestly, right after that, I was like, dude, I've never had an experience, a few minute of experience that fun in Warzone 2 once. And we got that within the first few hours of playing DMZ. It was a lot of fun. It was very hype driving the other side of the map. We thought we weren't going to make it. I was like, dude, there's no fucking way we're getting across the map in 2 minutes. We got there, ended up having to fight a team, got in the helicopter, got out. It was super exciting.
It was organically and in a completely not contrived way, Jake used the word and I think he nailed it. It was a cinematic experience because we were far west. The helicopter was on the east edge of the map, as far east as you can go. That's where the final exfil chopper was. Jake had a car, Tanner had a car. I was in Tanner's car. We both had to swap. And we're going just full throttle. The gas tank is going empty. We're going to have to switch cars. My gas mask is running out. By the way, the radiation damage, it's like gas damage, but it's like 10% of it probably. So your gas
it's not
mask
much.
lasts like 10 times as long as it would in gas and Warzone. But it does tick out. And then the same with your health. It depletes pretty fucking slow, but also fast enough. You got to get out of it. So the gas mask does protect you from radiation damage. But yeah. So anyway, we're in this radiation for so goddamn long because we were this far that my gas mask runs out. And now I'm taking like ticking radiation damage. We're fucking full speed and it's like 30 seconds left. And we're going straight on the freeway too. So
we're like planning out our route, like stay on this road, go here, go on this bridge. Yeah,
because we didn't want to get trapped, which could happen in downtown. So we had to like be smart about the route. We had to get on like the main highway. It was actually a cinematic experience. And then of course there's bogeys at the fucking exfil. So we have to dump them too. It was really fucking fun. It was really, really cool and really fun. And as we played more, because this was fairly early on, if you wait for the final chopper, you will get PvP almost every time. I think
you can really
we've done that.
People.
Yeah, I think we've exfilled with the final chopper 4 times, and I think 3 of them we saw people. I know there was one time where there was no one else there, but 3 out of the 4 times that I can remember, there was another team also trying to get out. And that's really fun, especially late like that, because the people who are in the raid until the final chopper are the kids who are the most hardcore DMZ players in the lobby in general. Because if you're some like giga casual, you're not waiting till the last minute. You're trying to get out before the timer runs out, in fact. Because you might think that's when the match ends, like we did until we tested it.
We did think that for a little while.
Yeah. So whenever there is another team at the final chopper, they're like sweaty little tryhards, and that makes it deeply satisfying to dump them because they're the ones that are going to get the most mad. Because if you've been in the raid for 30 minutes, you have a bunch of shit on you. You have obviously your armor vest, your plates, your gas mask, yourself, all that, which you're going to lose if you see us, which is intrinsically feels good.
Thanks for the loot.
For us to do, right, to deprive you of that. But in addition, you might have a bunch of task items. That's why you were in the raid so long. So they really don't want to die when this happens. And they do anyway. And that is really, 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 really fucking fun. It's really fun.
Very rewarding, ruining their day.
High stakes, Yeah. Because like when we're trying to get out that chopper, we want to keep our vest. We want to keep our gas mask. But also, I don't know if we've been in this situation, but it certainly could exist where, like, let's say we had gotten that laptop that we have to take to Ashika Island. I don't want to have to do this shit again. I want to get out at the final chopper. And what if I'm on a tier 4 mission where I have to find 3 rare ass items and extract with them?
Yeah.
And then at the final chopper, I'm in a gunfight and there's only 15 seconds left. That's high stakes, dude. That's fun. That's fucking cool. So we haven't even gotten like the most, risk reward engagement of that type, but any type is fairly risky and really satisfying. Yeah. Super, super good exfil mechanic. And another thing too about the match, exfilling in general, it's fairly hot because there are not that many exfils.
Exactly. And everyone knows when everyone can see the chopper coming in. They're like, oh, someone's exfilling right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually did this. We were by an exfil and then we saw either the smoke or the chopper coming in. I don't know which. And I had a precision
one downtown?
airstrike. This
one
was,
downtown on the roof?
Turok. No, by Turok.
Oh, okay.
And I had a precision and I was like, okay, you guys don't push them. I'm going to call this precision before the chopper like gets here so that like the guy dies while he's trying to run to get into the chopper. I ended up calling it a little too late. So here's a pro tip. I put the marker on the chopper. So pro tip, if the guy is in the chopper, they won't die to a precision. So call it a little sooner.
They have to be inside of a stairwell of a skyscraper to die to it. Yeah, they're not going to die through the chopper.
That's correct, yes. So there's a little pro tip for you. But if I had called that at the right time, or even irrespective of this example, the fact that you can see choppers coming in or the gas that signifies that they're going to be coming in, it might be an announcer that says an exfil chopper's inbound if you're close enough also. That might have been what happened. I don't know what. Whatever it is, it tells you when a chopper's coming in. The fact of that existing is very cool. And it allows for more PvP. And like one thing, we've killed players who are trying to exfil before in different circumstances. And another good thing about doing that is they're ready to leave, meaning they have a lot of shit on them. So when we've done this, we found large backpacks. We found like revive pistols, self-reses, 20k dog tags on them. They're dope insured weapons and shit. Rare ass keys we've never seen before. It's worth killing people trying to exfil because usually that means they have a bunch of good shit they want to get out with. And you can do it pretty often. So yeah, the exfilling in general, because there are not that many exfil choppers, even at the first minute, means they're fairly hot and you have to be on guard, which is cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And it's more PvP than I expected. That's the big point here.
A lot more than we expected. And I think now it's because originally we kind of just would do our own thing, and honestly, it was difficult early on to tell who was AI or not, because AI, there would be a ton of them. They would be really cracked, and they would beam you from like 100 meters away. So you're like, dude, am I getting shot by a player? I don't know what this is. You would never know. But now, with AI being nerfed and in a lot better spot than they once were, you can tell the difference in them. And yeah, we'll go out, searching for players as well. But yeah, like on that note, that's been one of my favorite things, as I enjoy watching and listening players beg for their life after we kill them. No one wants to fight, which we'll get right into here soon in the negatives. But yeah, it's like people, you can plea for help when you get downed, and if you press F on their body, like you're going to loot them, you have to press F. You get them up, and then they are in your squad. And we accidentally revived one guy who was playing for help, who we killed his buddies, and then he begun griefing us. He didn't talk once. We were shit talking him the whole time, like, oh, you're fucking pissed we killed your buddy, huh? You're all pissed. We had 3 vehicles there. He took our vehicles, drove them into the ocean. Yeah. And he was just trying to do that the entire time. But yeah, so people, every time you kill someone, they plea and they one up. Go back to the menu, bitch. And here is a PSA to everyone listening and DMZ players. You are a pussy if you ever plea for help. Die like a man and move on. We made the decision, we're never pleading for help. That's pussy shit. Don't know how to die and move on. I will die before I plea for help and be on your team. You are a pussy for doing that. Stop doing that. You're dead. Get the fuck out of the lobby. God, that makes me mad. Get over it. The first time we encountered this, we killed 2 people on a squad, and then the third guy was pleading for help.
So I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to res him and then immediately kill him again to just grief him harder. But it puts him on your squad and you can't, there's no friendly fire in DMZ. I don't know why I thought this was possible. I thought I would res him and he would be on his own team, but alive. I don't know why that would work that way, though. That was a dumb thing for me to think. But anyway, yeah, don't do it because they are going to grief you unless they're explicitly saying, oh, let's like team kill together, which was another thing that was happening often.
Everyone was asking to squad up.
There were times where we would kill another squad and they would almost always say one of two things. One was like, oh, you guys are like losers. You guys are trash. You're dog shit, whatever.
You guys are pussies. We're pussies for killing them in a game that has PvP. Yeah. Player
versus player combat K. Or they would say, oh man, these guys are really good team killers. We would be a crazy 6-man.
Yeah. That one squad was begging us.
There was one fucking guy who thought he was real slick. So us three are somewhere. I don't remember. I know where we were. I don't know what it was called though. It was like the southwestern like edge corner of downtown. And we were fighting these 3 guys. And they were actually pretty good. As far as DMZ goes, these guys were all American DMZ players.
Yeah, they have a 0.9 KD in Warzone. They're all American
they
DMZ
were just
players.
All Americans. So they were like decent. We killed them, of course. And when we were like hunting the last guy over VoIP, one of the guys was like, "Oh man, I would really love if these guys would squad up with us. We would be a crazy 6-man. These guys are really good team killers. We would go crazy." And he's obviously trying to manipulate us through flattery into like accepting him into our squad. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't try to manipulate me.
Yeah, hey, we don't need you, buddy. We easily wiped you, and you're the best All-American squad on the game right now.
They're unironically the best team we've ever seen in DMZ. Yeah, and they were not very good. They were okay. But like, yeah, that was funny. But anyway, I heard that phrase multiple times too. Team killers. You know, the last time I heard TK, team killer, or no, not team killer. I'm sorry, PK, player killers. That's the phrase.
Player killers. Is that what they said?
Killers, yes.
Oh, these guys are good player killers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I heard that phrase multiple times throughout our last like week or two of playing DMZ. That's a phrase that people use in DMZ that I've never heard in Call of Duty ever. I've heard the phrase player killer one time in my life, or in one arena in my life. And it is in old school RuneScape when it was just called RuneScape. There was a phrase called PK. That's what everyone would say relating to this, where you go in the wild and you kill other people. Because RuneScape is not like a PvP game, but there was PvP in it. And it would say, like, you could join like a PK guild, you know, PKing was the thing. And I have not heard that phrase in 15 years until DMZ. And like people, this is part of the DMZ vernacular, which is very funny. But that just goes, the existence of the phrase player killer belies the DMZ mindset, which is that killing other players is something separate from playing DMZ.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you never hear player killer in Warzone, because that's the point of Warzone. You don't need to add that distinction, because of course that's what you're doing. It's Warzone. That's why no one says player killer in Warzone. But they all say it in DMZ because these people do not believe in killing other players. We've seen like 2 squads that have actually pushed us ever. Them, and then when Tanner and I were a duo, we got actually pushed by players. Those are the only 2 teams to ever do it.
Yeah.
So that goes to the ethos of the average DMZ player, which we're going to talk about more.
Yeah.
But overall, yes, the exfilling in general, whether it's the last one or not, very fun and very well done in DMZ.
Yeah. I moved your note down lower in the what we don't like because I already wrote about that. But yes, yeah. So TLDR, there, you're a pussy if you plead for help ever.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like
Spit
absolutely,
gift.
like shit
Spit
talk us. Like if you kill me, you should be on my body shit talking me, shooting my body, and I shouldn't be pleading for help. That's how it should work out. So we already kind of talked about this, but hunt contracts and UAV towers are two of the best aspects of DMZ. If you just don't even want to do missions and go around griefing players, you absolutely can. Do constant hunt contracts, ruin some days. If you're a cracked Warzone player and like, oh, my lobbies have been too sweaty lately, I want to use your lobbies, go play DMZ solo and just do hunt contracts. I'm not kidding. If you're good at Warzone, you can 1v6 squads easily. And I'm being dead serious easily. Raz and I did. We 2v6 a squad, and I don't think either of us got a plate cracked. Yeah, they're terrible. But yeah, so that's the equivalent of the bounty in Warzone. And then UAV towers are dope. It's a free UAV sweep. It's the stronghold UAV essentially in Warzone. You go to an area, you press a few buttons on a computer, and it gives you a large UAV sweep in the area, which will reveal players or AI.
And it lasts for like 2 minutes.
I feel like it's honestly more than that. It is a long. It's minimum 2 minutes. I want to say it's probably 3. It really lasts a while. So
way longer than a UAV kill streak, for example.
Also, if you stay in the area, you can immediately do it again, and it redoes it for the full time. It's not like you're on a cooldown. It's not like it doesn't let you do it because you already pinged it. You can continue to do it over and over again, and so it lights up red, so players know you're there, which will bring players to you. Or for us, if we see one light up red, which is what we did to a squad, Raz and I were downtown.
5 people.
I'm not exaggerating.
I'm thinking of oil.
No, that is oil. Yeah, we were downtown. We saw it ping red. We were going that direction to do something. We're like, oh, let's go check this out. We roll up. They're staring at us. I don't know what they're doing. I immediately start barking. We just start barking. They were all lined up like VoIPing or something. I spray 3 of them down, 2 more underground. You start going around a different direction. We're downing all of them. There's some left still. I'm trying to find the other guys underground. They go up a different way that I didn't know you could get out. And they all start laying there reviving. I'm like, what are they doing? And I'm yelling at you. I'm like, Raz, they're all in a pile reviving. I'm not kidding. There's 5 of them. I just keep shooting into the pile. You come around the other side, start shooting into the pile.
They're oblivious in a pile.
I am not. There are 5 or
puddle.
6 of them laying there in a 3-foot circle, reviving each other.
Yeah.
Clueless. They had no clue what was going on. We gunned the whole squad down. I don't think either of us had a plate cracked. So really, if you want to just go around and hunt players, you can do that, and you can squad wipe, and it's fun to do that.
It's very fun to do that. Yes, kids get so mad.
They were shit talking us. You could tell, but it was Spanish, so I did not know what they were saying. They were dropping a lot of words, a lot of Spanish gamer words that I've heard here and there from playing video games in my life. A lot of those were being dropped, but I don't know what they were saying. Like 3 of them were pleading for help, of course. Yeah, we took their loot and we moved on. So that's fun.
That's very fun. I agree. The hunt contract is fantastic. Yeah, and again, it's a different. There is an icon in DMZ that is the same as the bounty icon in Warzone, but it pings an NPC, a commander, and then there's a separate contract called a hunt contract, and the icon is a skull in DMZ, but it functions exactly the same way as the bounty contract in Warzone. I don't know why they did that. It's very annoying. And we made the mistake once, but that's not the biggest deal. But anyway, the UAV towers, and this is why I'm very excited for them to come to Warzone, are incredibly well done. Because, again, you get a free UAV in a pretty decent area for a very long time. And that's obviously very powerful. But also, it lights up red on the map, so other players know someone hit that UAV tower. So you're essentially revealing your position when you do this. And if you're in the area as an enemy, actually, if you're in the area, even if it's your own team, the announcer will also say, hey, a UAV tower has been lit up in your area. So it warns other players that you've hit the tower, or vice versa. That's a good way to balance how powerful the UAV tower is. And also, once you press activate UAV, as I said last episode, you are exposed for like 2 to 3 Mississippis, like whole ass seconds. So if you do this, you can't just like run up to it and like press a button and you're good. Like you have to clear the area first and make sure you're safe to like have 3 seconds to type it in, because you can't cancel it once you do, and you can absolutely die while you're doing this. So that's another way it's fairly balanced. I think it's handled super, super, super fucking well, and it creates hotspots, and it's going to do that even more in Warzone. So I really, really love the existence of the UAV tower and how it's handled in DMZ, and I imagine I'm going to feel the same way for Warzone too.
I'm super excited for that to come to Warzone.
I think it's really a really cool feature, because it's strong enough to make it worth going to, but it's not so strong that like everyone's going to land on it at the same time, like an albatross, like the big bird before they took it out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's perfectly balanced in that way. It creates a hot spot, but it's not overpowered if you're the one to get it first, because again, you're alerting other players that you're there. So it's really, really well done, and I'm very excited about it coming to Warzone as well. Another thing that's great about DMZ, this might mean less in Season 3 based on the rumors floating around. It's confirmed, it was even in the blog post, that snipers are going to be a one-shot headshot. But in DMZ, for now especially, snipers are fucking insane. Because when you first load into DMZ, there are still 2-plate armor vests and 3-plate armor vests. So by default, you only have 1 plate. And you have to find these vests to fill with more plates. So unless you find a 3-plate vest and you're fully plated, you will still get downed in 1 headshot to a sniper. And most people don't find the 3-plate armor vest, at least in our experience. So there are a lot of times where if you've got that fang on you, you're still one-shot headshotting kids. Snipers are immensely effective in DMZ, and that's fun too. Obviously, again, that gunfight where we were coming from downtown and going to oil because we saw the UAV sweep. I didn't have my sniper with me, unfortunately, but Tanner did, and he got like 5 downs. And then they kept rezzing, and then I just like ran up a flank, and then him constantly downing kids allowed me, once I ran up on the cuddle puddle, just fucking mobbed on those kids, dude. I fucking mobbed on them, just gunned them all down. And that was possible. Let me be clear. These players weren't good. I would have killed them anyway. But if they were good in some alternate dimension, the fact me being able to kill all of them with like 1 magazine was only because Tanner was sniping. Snipers are very, very good in DMZ because of the armor vest situation. So that's really fun too, because we like sniping.
Yeah, and I was only sniping primarily to when we first started playing DMZ, a week ago, whenever it was, I started using the Victus because I was like, snipers are probably going to one-shot in Season 2. Victus would be one of them that does one-shot at all ranges or at a range. Yes. So I was like, I need to level this some more. So that's why I was using it in DMZ, and I was like, oh, this is really good, actually. And yeah, it one-taps AI anywhere, the standard ones. I do wish it doesn't one-tap armored AI, which is very annoying. Like in DMZ, the armored AI, it should still one-tap them. It takes sometimes 2 or 3 bullets to the head to one-tap them. Yeah. It's a little frustrating. So I don't know how that will change if we get one-shot snipers in Season 3.
That was annoying me, too.
But if that makes it so all standard armored AI get one tapped in the head, that would be a great change, I think, as well. That'd make sniping even better. Because, it's like a sniper one-shots, a marksman rifle one-shots. Well, you need to make the snipers even better then. So they should one-shot armored guys, too.
I agree.
And a lot of people were sniping in general. I think every team we came across, at least a few of them were sniping.
I was using multiple kids' insured weapons that became my contraband weapons because you're shit. And I barked at you, killed you, farmed you, shot your body, voiped. I'm not reviving you. I'm going to come up to your body and press a button, and it's going to be the button to revive you, but I'm going to hold that bitch, and I'm going to loot your corpse. While I'm voiping you and telling you you're dog shit. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. And then when I do that, oftentimes, find a sniper. Because other people recognize that too. There's a lot of other snipers, which is also fun because it's fun to get in little sniper battles. We got in one of our last raids that we've done recently. It was just Tanner and I again. We were again at the north west corner of oil, and there were kids like farther west at the gas station. I saw Glint. He actually shot me.
Yeah.
But he didn't headshot me, of course, because he's dog shit. And in this case, I did have that Victus thing on me, my Orion Victus. I have Orion, by the way. And then I re-peeked, fucking snap, down. All right, we're going to push now. And then we ran up.
And I downed the other one also. It was like 350 meters down him.
So then that gave us time to, not that it would have mattered, they were terrible, but it gave us time to run up completely free, get a different angle. I ended up getting on the ridge to the north of them. They were both just prone on the roof, just unaware. Or no, one of them was. I don't know where the other guy was.
The other one was crouched in the hallway. Yeah, I killed him. And I think they were mad we killed them too, if I'm not mistaken. I think they called us pussies or something.
But yeah, I got on the roof. And then he's prone facing where we were 5 minutes ago, just unaware. And I just take his head. Yeah. That was very fun. But yeah, snipers are good. And other people snipe too, which is cool. So
yeah. And just Moz real quick to talk on that. Moz is a perfect map for this game mode, I think. Ashika, not so much. We'll get into it. But sometimes I found myself, I did like a few solo raids just to level up the Victus some more. I would just hang out in an area, lay on a rock somewhere, snipe a bunch of AI. It's a totally different experience playing the map that you're used to playing Warzone on, and just laying somewhere, hanging out, sniping, looking for players. It's all quiet. It's not a bunch of shit going on like in Warzone. Not getting 4 airstrikes called on me at once. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So basically, you can really play however you want in this mode, and hey, that's what people do. And they continue to play it, so they must be doing okay playing their own way until the top 3 DMZ players in the world, Jake, Raz, and myself, get in the lobby. Then you're going to die. But you can really do whatever you want, play how you want, and it's fun playing Moz and just kind of taking it slow. I think it actually made me appreciate Almazir even more playing it on DMZ, like how well designed of a map it is. Yeah. So that was fun. And then, you can easily wipe squads even if you're playing solo and you're a pretty good player. I wiped a 3-man one of the raids I was in with a sniper. They're, again, clueless. Start reviving in the open. Don't pay attention to anything. So it's a good time. And you can just play how you want and really enjoy the map.
Yeah, I agree. I have nothing really to add. Moz is I think it's a great BR map, and that translates, I think, perfectly to DMZ. One thing I will say though, actually, on the map, this is less to do with the map. Actually, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, random perks you also like. That's interesting.
Yeah, last thing here. They added, this is something more recent. If you do a raid and you do a contract in raid, not a faction mission, if you do a contract in raid, at the end of that, if you successfully extract, you get a random perk, which is really cool. I would rather be able to get perks more often than that, but I'm glad they added this in at all, so you do have a chance to get perks. So far, they've all been shit. What have we been getting? Like Battle Hardened? I got Double Time once. That was cool. Haven't gotten Fast Hands once. Battle Hardened, Bomb Squad. What else have we gotten? Scavenger. Yeah, so they're not great, but if you do contracts in Survival Wild, that really adds up, and you could theoretically get a bunch of perks stacked up. So I like that feature. And I think that's something they added in, I think they added that in Season 2, didn't they? It's something more recent. But regardless, that's a good change. The game definitely needs perks, especially when you're trying to run across this huge map and, you get a 1.5 seconds of tac sprint. And then you're also probably carrying like an AR and a sniper, and you just have 0 mobility. So you need perks. I'm glad they introduced them in some sort of way. I do wish they were even more common than that. I don't know how else I'd rather want it, though. I don't know if I want you to spawn in with like a couple perks or 3 perks. You shouldn't be able to buy them or anything. I think that's a little weird for DMZ. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is the best way to do it.
Well, I think the earn rate is good, and I also think the how you get them, I think, is good too, because it's incentivizing not dying, because then you lose all your perks, and also it incentivizes doing shit. So doing contracts, because you could just just immediately go straight to exfil to get all the perks. So they want to have some way around that. So you have to do at least one contract to get a perk. I like both of those things. I just wish that you could in the menu somewhere, select the order of perks so that perks are still earned the same way. They're earned at the same rate, but the perks you get are not random. So it's like, okay, my perk order is going to be like fast hands, high alert, whatever. Or if you have to make me do 4 base perks before I can start unlocking those, whatever. But if I could select my perk order, I think this system would be virtually perfect. Yeah. Because I think perks, if you could just like have them right away, like a custom class in Warzone, I think that would make PvP nigh impossible because everyone would be ghosted and everyone would be more tanky and they would all just run away even more effectively. And I wouldn't want that. But, so I like that, like, you just don't have any and you have to actually like live a whole ass raid to even get one.
Do a contract. You can't even just survive.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think if you could pick the order that you earn them, that would be the best solution. Because it is really annoying getting fucking scavenger, which I've gotten a lot. And I'm like, okay, I don't care. I don't even know what this does in DMZ. I'm not kidding, actually. So
I think scav gives you more plates.
Whatever it is, it's completely fucking useless. But yeah, it's annoying.
I also got, it is for sure random because one time, unless the icon, the UI was just bugged, I got battle hardened 2 raids in a row and it showed it when I got like another perk. It showed that I had battle hardened twice already. So I'm like, okay, well, how hard is it to not make them repeat and give me the same perk twice? You know, it seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually a really good idea. What you said, that would be dope. You just select your own perks. Yeah, like maybe for the first 2 or 3, you can't choose like an ultimate perk or a bonus perk and you have to choose base ones. But then after that, yeah, you can choose fast hands, whatever else you want.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
A good solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to things we fucking don't like. So one thing I'll add, and I probably should have said this at the beginning, is the things I've been enjoying about DMZ, which we just talked about, were kind of surprising. I didn't expect to enjoy the PvP of DMZ because I didn't expect there to be much of it.
Yeah.
So I had gone into this experiment thinking, if DMZ is going to be fun or enjoyable, it's going to be because of the missions. And what actually ended up happening is I do enjoy the missions and they are fun. And if they didn't exist, I would hate DMZ. But even more than that is the PvP. That was very surprising to me. So the things I've enjoyed have been fairly surprising regarding DMZ. Yeah. And likewise, some of the things I dislike are going to be, or were surprising to me, and maybe will be surprising to you. Some of them were not surprising, but some of them were. And now we're going to talk about those things. The first is that I think it could use more players. I think DMZ could use more players. I don't know how many spawn in, Al Mazrah specifically. I think Ashika Island, the player count's good. You see people every time. I wouldn't want Maz to be as dense as Ashika is, but I think it could use more players in it. I don't know how many. It's very hard to get a gauge for how many people are in the lobby in DMZ.
It's supposed to be a max of 60, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there are way too few players, but I think like 2 more squads would be pretty good, because when I think of seeing other people, it's very rarely randomly. And I would like to see other people randomly once in a while. The only times we see other people, the vast majority of the time anyway, are when we're going to an exfil chopper or we're around an exfil chopper, or we're doing a hunt contract, or very rarely they're doing a hunt contract. But those are all externalities, and randomly coming upon another team when we're not doing a contract, nor are we going to a chopper, or nor are we by a chopper, is fairly rare. And that is what makes me think we could use a few more players, but maybe not. And I don't think it's the end of the world, the player count. I think it's fine, but I would like 2 more teams or so.
I think we saw a good amount of players ran. It was never like you wouldn't just be running in an area like, say, Tarkov, though, and then all of a sudden, like, oh shit, there's like guys in this building. It was more like we would be walking or driving somewhere and be like, oh shit, there's a car coming towards us. It's like, is this AI or players? And oh, these are players. These are real players because there's one laying prone on the roof of the car. It's like we would come across them that way, but just like running around the map, you wouldn't see any. But we also learned it was pretty easy to find players based off of listening to shooting and seeing bullet tracers. Like when we killed the squad up at Akhtar Village, we looked down towards airport and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of shots and shit going on out there. And I had a sniper, so I zoomed in. I'm like, oh, I can see like teams fighting AI or fighting each other way out there. So we jumped off that, parachuted to the freeway south of that, and then we killed those 2 guys coming out of airport. So if you pay attention, you know where people are. But yeah, you don't, I guess, come across them at random. Generally, you do kind of have to look out for them. And push them in general because they'll run away from you if they see you. They do the opposite. So I don't know. I think the player count's okay. I'm not too sure. I definitely don't want, like, even adding like 10, 15, I think would be way too much. So like, yeah, maybe 2 squads at the most. I'm not sure. I think it's okay though, because like, you do want it to feel a lot different than Warzone. Yeah, you don't want to just be constantly fighting. So I think it's a pretty good pace. You
are correct also, to be fair. If you want PvP, you will get it in every single raid. It's not hard to find people if you want to find them. So it's not like there are way too few or anything. Yeah. So, because you're right. If you want to find kids, you can find them easily and reliably. So, yeah.
So one of the biggest things, which we kind of talked about throughout this, one of the worst parts about DMZ, where it could be a lot better, is that players in general don't want to PvP. And I think by the time you play enough hours of DMZ, it could get boring because of that, because players aren't willing to fight. Like so many of these quote fights we've had is just us gunning down players, not even shooting back, because people just don't immediately shoot at you in general. That is actually so uncommon and rare. There's so few times that's happened. I could easily count that on one hand. There was one specific time, because it was so rare that I do remember, and it was after, I think it was the same raid. We killed the pile of guys laying in the body, and then we were looting that one building.
Yes.
We had the UAV tower pinging, and I was like, oh shit, there's guys on the train. I jump out looking at them. They're looking at me. I'm like, oh, they're probably just going to keep going. I shoot and miss. For the first time ever, they pushed the shit out of us, and it caught me so off guard that like 3 of them jumped around the corner and immediately downed me. And I was like, oh fuck, these guys are fighting. That's cool. They didn't VoIP us and be like, oh, you guys want to team up? You guys want to join a squad? Nothing. They just gunned us down. And I had so much respect out of that I told Raz that after. I'm like, oh, like shit, like that's cool that those guys actually like fought us. Like good for them. They just, they came straight at us and killed us. That was dope. Yeah. They were pussies. They were like a 5-man or something because they're DMZ pussies, but good for them for actually fighting someone.
They were a 5-man.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah. And looking back, that's the only reason they did attack, because if they were a 3-man, they would have been petrified and kept going. But because they had extra,
we didn't even have a third.
Yeah, they caught us so off guard, and you couldn't hear them coming because the train's going by, so I don't hear them running up. But yeah, so that was actually so shocking that shout out to them. There was another time we were in downtown at like Trump Tower. We saw a guy like parachute off the top of Trump on the other side, and start going to where the exfil is. And I saw him and I shot at him with a sniper. He had just called in the helicopter. Bunch of shit started going down. His teammates were all in the building. I called in a recon drone and saw them. The chopper comes down. Raz is shooting at them from one building. I'm shooting at them from another. You end up getting a kill or two, a couple downs. A lot of shit going off. I think you called in an airstrike or something on that building. You're fighting those guys. Trucks rolling up below me. I'm like, oh shit, these guys are going to come up my zip. I'm going to need help. I had like tear gas or something equipped because we were doing that mission to kill the riot shield guys. Right. Yeah. And so the guy comes up the zip, I tear gas. He's like, yo, stop. Friendly, man. I'm friendly. Doesn't ask me if I'm friendly. Hey, buddy, I'm not. I gun him down. I shoot him. He's like, you're a fucking pussy. And then he starts shit talking us saying, all you guys do is play this mode. You guys have your matching skins because we are all running our ranked play skins.
Yeah,
he's like, you guys actually spend money on this game. Oh my God, you guys, this is all you fucking do. You guys live for this. Like talking about DMZ. I'm like, if only this guy knew we have less hours in this game than he does, I guarantee it. We have less hours on DMZ. So it was funny, but it's like, what? Why do you not just try to fight me? That'd be more fun if you just try to fight me instead of yelling friendly. So yeah, I basically don't understand. The AI is not fun to fight. PvP should be a major part of DMZ, but it seems the community is just not interested in that. It's like many times even you'd see a truck or something driving by, we'd start shooting at them. They fucking drive off. They don't stop. If that's us, we get shot at, we're hopping out at the nearest building and immediately pushing them or waiting for them to come to us and attacking them. But no, everyone just drives away. So stop being pussies and fight other players. It will make DMZ more fun for a longer period of time if you actually fight people. I know you're really scared to lose that gas mask you found and that 3 armor vest. I know it's super scary and to lose that self-revive, of course, but just try fighting. It'll make the game more enjoyable for everyone that plays it, I think, if people fought more. Yeah.
So one thing you said that I sort of disagree with is killing players that don't want a PvP. The thing about that is really fun to do because they get mad and will tell you that. And that is deeply, deeply satisfying. My favorite player to kill is the one who's pissed about it and starts calling me racial epithets.
Yeah.
Or homophobic slurs, what have you. These are my favorite people to kill because that shit never, ever, ever gets old. It never gets old when you dump some kid and he's so mad that he starts screaming into his fucking headset mic plugged into his PS8 controller or whatever it is. It never gets old. It's always fun. And killing players who don't want to PvP, you know that you're depriving them of completing their task or of their 8th insured weapon slot, what have you. And that's deeply gratifying. I really enjoy that aspect of it. When it's not fun is when they don't even try to fight because they just assume you're friendly. That shit is dumb. Like when the guy came up the rappel tank I was just talking about. That guy didn't even shoot back because he just assumed that he would be willing to assimilate. And that's not, like killing someone who's just actually not fighting back. He's not even running away. He's just like standing there. Like, that's not fun. That's like, at least try, But the majority of players who don't want a PvP, they'll run away and it's fun to kill them because they're like trying to get away from you, And again, you're denying them satisfaction. You're ruining their raid. You're ruining their day. You're ruining their mission progress. That's all really fun to me. And is super satisfying. And people who don't want a PvP but will try to kill you anyway because they're being shot. Again, these fights, very fun, very satisfying to me. But when that's all there is, that can get old. Especially because of the caliber of player. And that's the next thing. We've not seen an actually good player in DMZ yet. I'm not even trying to be an asshole or exaggerate, but I think the best squad we saw, which we talked about, the kids that tried to manipulate us with flattery, their Warzone KD, if they had one, which I'm going to get into in a second, in reality was probably like a 1.1 to 1.3. Like they were better than average. Their gun setups were good. They had like a solid gun setup, at least the one I killed. It was like a nice little hemlock. So they're like competent players, but these were the best players we saw. And we've killed a lot of fucking players, like a lot of players. And this was the best example we've seen so far. So that's the thing about DMZ is I don't think there's ever going to be an ecosystem where PvP is like a major part of DMZ. And I don't even think it's Activision's fault because if you want a PvP, you're just going to go play Warzone. And there is a subset of people who want to PvP in DMZ specifically. But who are the only people that are going to do that? The people who've played Warzone, tried Warzone, get farmed, their ego can't handle it, so they have to go to where people don't PvP to PvP, which is DMZ. All these player killer squads in DMZ, I guarantee you, if this is all they do anyway, this is a group of people whose ego is too bruised or too sensitive to go play Warzone, where they actually get farmed or don't do as well as they should or think they should, and they come to DMZ because their ego can't handle not winning 99% of their gunfights. So, and then the other cohort of DMZ players is people who don't want to PvP at all, but they don't want to play multiplayer either. They want a new, different experience, so they play DMZ, and they PvE only. So I don't think PvP is ever going to be a major part of DMZ, because everyone who wants to PvP is going to go play Warzone, and the very small minority of DMZ PvP mains, I'm not kidding, unironically, 90% of those players, it's literally the guy, and we all know this guy, whose ego is too bruised and too sensitive to go actually compete in the competitive area. So they go compete in the uncompetitive area to make themselves feel better about their skill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think so. That's part of it. Yep. And then even, like when it comes to us killing players, I looked up what the dog tags were. So a bronze dog tag means that player has either 0 or 1 successful exfils in a row. A silver dog tag, they're worth more money, basically. A silver dog tag worth a little bit more means they've had 2 exfils successfully in a row. Gold dog tag is worth 25,000. It means they've had 5 in a row, and a Damascus is worth 50,000. Means they have 10 in a row. I'm not kidding. Of all of the players we killed in DMZ, I saw 1 gold dog tag once. Yeah. Everything else almost always was bronze. So it's like these people aren't even usually surviving a raid, it seems. Like, who are you dying to? Are you dying to AI that often? I don't get it. Like, even silver was a rare dog tag to see. So I didn't realize that's all it was. It was only 5 to get gold. I mean, we had gold dog tags every time we played. I think it was a team,
because I got a gold dog tag also, and it was they were trying.
It was the guys at Akhtar Village.
Is this like by the river?
No, up on Akhtar Village where we rappelled up. There were 3 guys. Jake, I think, got fooled to one of them, but then we killed them all, so we were able to revive him. One of them had an RPG. That was when after we jumped off and ran towards airport to kill those 2 guys coming out of airport. That raid.
Okay.
That's where I got my gold dog tag.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking of another team somewhere else, or maybe that is the team. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, yeah, I've only seen like 1, maybe 2 gold dog tags, but I only remember.
Yeah,
the 1.
So it does go to show you, like, people aren't living raids in a row, which is weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, wait, Jerry talked about the assimilation. Was that?
Oh, sorry. I scrolled up to look at the map, to look at what Akhtar Village is. Where am I? Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. So moving on, next is assimilation. So assimilation is the feature they added to this game where either you can die and then plea for help, and if the people accept your plea, they join your team, which we talked about. That's one form of assimilation. Alternatively, you could just press an item on a radial menu. So like if you want to ping an enemy player, you press a button. I don't know what it is by default, but mine is my scroll wheel button. If you hold that ping button, it brings up a radial wheel, and one of those is like it's either join other squad or ask another squad to join you or some shit. This is another way you can assimilate. So you press the button, and then a pop-up says, hey, this dickhead invites you to his squad. Do you accept? And then you pull up your radial menu, you press accept, and then voila, you're all on the same team. So you can have so you can only load in with 3 players for DMZ, but you can have a maximum squad size of 6 players. So you can assimilate with a whole ass other squad. And this feature, I think, is unnecessary and dumb. And even for like the giga casual DMZ player, this is not a good feature. I don't know what this adds to the game other than confusion and opportunities for griefing, because I am positive that someone has said in the last 10 minutes, I'm positive this has happened. One team's in DMZ, another team's also in DMZ. One of them VoIPs, hey, you want to squad up? The other one says, yeah, where are you? The other one says, oh, I'm on the roof. And then the other guy says in Discord privately, let's go gun these fucking idiots down. Runs up on the roof, murders them. If there was no assimilation option, that doesn't happen. And that's not fun for the casual who wants to team up, where he's just getting griefed and like can't trust people, you know? I don't think it adds enough to warrant it existing. I'm not sure what it adds at all, to be honest. And
well, it makes it easier for them.
Well, here's another thing though. There are like 5 stacks and 6 stacks we've seen that their goal is to kill other people. And I think most of the time we've seen 6-mans, they have been created to go kill other players, and they find us, oops, and die, which is funny. But like, if you're a casual and you just want to do your missions or whatever, well, now it's possible that 6 players can come fuck you because they're all on the same team. That makes it a lot harder for casuals who are not in the 6-man. So I don't know. I don't like it. The only time I've enjoyed 6-mans existing is when they push us and we kill all 6 of them instead of just 3.
Exactly.
Which has happened a couple times. My favorite time was right before that kid griefed us by driving our vehicles into the water. That was a 6-man. And we dumped all of them. And then Jake accidentally revived the one guy. But they pushed us in that case, actually. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember 100%. But that was the only time I was happy to see a 6-man. You know? But I don't like the feature. And I'll never do it.
Well, yeah, we'll never do it, but it's more fun fighting a 6-man than a 3-man, because a 6-man on average
For
in DMZ
us, though,
is like fighting a duo
we're the best
in
DMZ
Warzone.
Players on Earth.
That's what I'm saying. So it's fun for us to fight more people, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the average kids, they are squatting up with everyone, so it is easy for them. I don't think people are griefing that often. I really don't. I doubt that's happening, because the average DMZ player, they were all so old too. Everyone VoIPing was like 40 plus. No, like 15-year-old is playing and griefing in general. It's a bunch of old dudes.
Those the flattery manipulators were children, but yeah, a lot of
they were guys. Young, yeah.
Yeah. I just like if I'm a 3-man in DMZ and I get rolled up on by a 6-man in DMZ, I'm gonna be really sad. I have no chance. I'm not good enough. You know, that's what I feel bad about. I don't care.
Did we do that to someone? I feel like there was a raid where 2 of us were dead and someone offered to do it and then we dumped them instead and they got all mad. Did that happen? Kind of feel like that happened.
Oh.
Did I do that? Did I kill some guys after you guys died and I was like, okay, how do I do that?
In the bathroom, right? These were the best this was the All-American squad, if I'm thinking of the same thing.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe not.
The last guy was like corner camping in a bathroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he was like VoIPing and they were flattering us. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think assimilation is...
I don't think it's the end of the world, to be clear.
Yeah.
I just don't like the feature. I don't think it adds enough.
I would never want to do it. 6 is just... I think it's too many and kind of ruins it. But yeah whatever. Sure. If you want to do it, fine. Next thing here for me, Ashika Island sucks big time. The mode DMZ feels great on Mazra. And would feel even better too. It'd be cool if it had different times like Tarkov has. There's like a morning and a nighttime, or if it was just random. And before you load into the raid, it says this is the time. It's going to be a night vision raid. I think that would add something different to Al Mazrah too. But Mazrah is great for it. Ashika just feels too small and feels off. It feels, I guess, too similar to just like Resurgence or something. There's actually too much action for DMZ, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And it's just like constant fighting. The spawns are so close that you're actually getting it. Like one raid we got into PvP, 20 seconds into the
Dude,
raid.
I was
And it's not like
shocked.
they were far shooting at us. Like we ran into each other at farms like 20 seconds into the raid and all started fighting. And that's just not fun for a mode like DMZ. Don't get me wrong. I want the PvP, but there's too many AI that are too cracked on Ashika and too many players spawning too close. And it just makes the mode not fun, I think. So yeah, we haven't been to Building 21 yet either, but with all the AI and from what I've heard about that, I'm sure that's also fucking miserable as well.
That's what we were saying. I wanted to try it, and I was like, dude, it's probably full of juggernauts and shit.
Yeah, and that's how it used to be. But yeah, so like the AI on the island, they're mostly armored. They'll actually fuck you up. They're pretty good. And the castle, of course, as we said, is full of sentry turrets, prox mines, trip bombs, trip wires,
Literally
insane
tripwire,
AI,
like,
and wheel
campaign.
suns.
Yeah.
It's just not fun to fight there at all. So Ashika in general, I think really just fucking sucks for DMZ. I would be fine never playing Ashika again. I wouldn't play it if the missions didn't take you there. I'm already done playing DMZ on it, but you'll have to go back there for missions. So Madra is a lot better. It's got a better pace to it.
Yeah. My problem with Ashika, you've pretty much outlined. Way too much AI, and they're armored. And like, if you're gonna have a lot of armored AI, you should be able to get away from them. And you like can't on Ashika? I don't know. I don't like it. And especially because you're gonna be in a gunfight. And this is how we ended up dying on that Wilson mission. There was so much. There was the Wilson shooting us. There were AI sentry turrets. There were AI bots. There was AI tripwire, AI prox mines. And we were trying to fight another real team, but we were getting third-partied by artificial intelligence. And
yeah,
that's not fun. What I wish Ashika was, I like the player count on Ashika Island, actually, DMZ. I think the number of players, it's way more dense, but I like that option existing. The problem, though, is that when there are also a fuck ton of AI and they're the armored AI, well, now I don't have the opportunity to get into a fair fight with any of these players. So what I wish Ashika looked like was way fewer armored AI, and if you want to have Castle itself be the fucking, it has tripwires and prox mines and everything, you know what? I'm okay with that. But take the armored AI, because once you go there once, you know that now. So it's like, okay, we have to like kill everyone else before we go here if we want to do this. Or you can just avoid it if you don't need to go there, you know? I'm okay with that. Like a little stronghold area. Because Al Mazrah has those too. Like areas that are like heavily fortified, a bunch of armored dudes, tripwires and all that shit. But you can avoid it. On Ashika, I wish it was the same way. You could avoid Castle, but you can't avoid all the armored AI everywhere. And I also like the really dense player count because I can imagine if I was a DMZ player and let's say I have a bunch of really good shit. I have like as good as you can get on DMZ. I have my armor vest. I have my self-res. I have my durable gas mask. I have a kill streak on my character inventory. Like, let's say we all have a UAV. It's like, ooh, we're really set to do PvP right now. Let's try and do that mission where we extract with a backpack full of dog tags. I like that there's a separate map. I like the idea of there being a separate map where the player density is way higher for people who want to do that, whether it's for a mission or not. But the problem is, like you said, it is tainted by AI. And there are just too many of them and they're armored, which is, I think, the biggest problem. I would even be probably okay with a number of AI on Ashika if they were mostly the shitters and keep the armored ones in like, you know, the restricted areas or the castle, you know, like that would be okay. But they're just everywhere. And that's, not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think it could be done better. And I also will agree with you. Building 21's almost certainly miserable and dog shit. Because it's probably full of the armored dudes. In a building, too. So if you do get third-partied, you're super fucked. Because you're like pinned down in a bathroom by a juggernaut. And then there's other players outside also lobbing fucking Semtex in there. Like, what are you going to do? It's nothing. Yeah. So that's probably miserable, but we've never played it. So.
Yep. Next thing here, there really is hardly a reason right now to even have a custom loadout cooldown timer at this point.
Insured weapon slot.
So the way it works, you have an insured weapon slot. The more tier missions you do for certain factions, you unlock more insured weapon slots. You can have up to like 3. No one in the world probably has all 3 of them. So you can get 2 pretty easily. We haven't gotten that far yet. But so you build a custom gun, whatever gun you want. You bring it into the raid. If you die with it, then it's on a cooldown. I think by default, that's only an hour now. Now, when DMZ dropped, that was like 12 hours or something. It was a long time.
It's 1 hour confirmed, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 1 hour now. And it's so easy to lower that cooldown timer and to just get other guns anyways. I don't see why this feature exists anymore. So it's like by the time you do another raid after that, which, hey, you should have plenty of other contraband guns that are good. You don't need the most meta build either, because like we've been saying, the players aren't good. You can kill players with any gun pretty much. So like once you take time to play a match, finish it, extract with gear, which is then converted into money, which then lowers your cooldown timer on your gun. Why are we even doing that? My gun's basically already back at that point. So I'm wondering if this feature is just getting removed in Season 3. Because in Season 3, we're going to have 4 operators with different gear sets to choose from, which I feel like is their way, one of the ways of just removing the insured weapon slot. You can just have different operators, whatever kit they have or whatever you can use at the time. So
like they each have one custom weapon slot, in other words?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Something like that. So I feel like they're going to change up the cooldown timer a lot, because it won't make sense if that's the case. And especially also since they're adding the workbench, so you can bring in contraband guns, which are guns you brought out of raid that were not your custom gun. So if you kill someone with their custom gun, you extract successfully with it. That is in your contraband stash, which has 20 slots, I believe, so 20 different guns. So in Season 3, though, you're going to be able to bring in any contraband gun into a raid and then edit it at a workbench, which are going to be close to the buy stations. You can sell attachments, you can buy attachments and build it out in game. So since we're doing all that, I don't even see why there's going to be like cooldowns on the custom weapon slots. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes when it comes to things like that, is what I'm getting at. But the insured weapon slot is just so dumb. You get it back so quickly. It's like, what's even the point? I don't even care. I don't need my insured weapon slot. I'll use one of my 20 kitted out contraband guns anyways. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of a waste. They've made it too quick to come back anyways, that it's like, why is the feature in the game?
Yeah, either have it be an actual penalty or just don't have it at all, because it's awkward losing your insured weapon slot, and then you have to do exactly 1 raid before you have it again. It's like, at that point, what, like, this is barely a penalty anyway. And that leads to the next point, which is that the real problem with dying is not losing your insured weapon slot. I'm not kidding. That's like the least important, because what can you lose? You can lose your backpack. You can lose an armor vest, so 2 or 3 plate armor vest. You can lose a gas mask. You can lose a kill streak. And you can lose your insured weapon slot.
Yeah.
Of all of those things, the only thing I care less about than my gun is the gas mask. But it's a much bigger problem for me to lose the large backpack I found, or the 3 plate armor vest to a lesser degree, than it is to lose my insured weapon slot. So it's weird that that is the thing that goes on cooldown at all. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is when I die, I'm not mad I lost my slot. I'm mad I lost my backpack mostly. And my vest and shit, because it's annoying having to go get it again. Not that they're hard to get, but that it's just going to be more time that I'm going to have to like spend or keep an eye out or whatever. And that's my second real big gripe with this, is that there is no stash. There's the contraband stash, but only weapons go in there. And then there's like a key stash where you can take keys out of raid, which are not converted into XP, and you can put them in your like out of raid inventory. There needs to be an out of raid inventory for everything else also. And that would make, but the way they're getting around this is with the operator slots that they're going to be implementing in Season 3. But I think that is an inelegant solution. And what instead should be possible is I should be able to take let's say I have a large backpack equipped, and then I find another one, I should be able to put the other large backpack into my backpack, which you can do right now. But I should also be able to extract with it. Because if you extract with a large backpack in your large backpack, then it just converts it to XP. But I wish I could take that second large backpack, get out of the raid, store it in an inventory, and then if I died on the next raid, then I can just immediately equip the large backpacks I've been hoarding in my stash. And that would make finding these things way more valuable and way more interesting. Because there is nothing you can do to prepare yourself for the raid after you die right now. There's nothing you can do. You can't stock up on, except stocking up on good guns, which is something that's cool, and I have been doing. That's one of the big benefits of killing players as much as we do. My contraband stash of 20 guns is fucking 13 of them are just player guns with 5 attachments that are not built super well because these are DMZ players, but they're better than a fucking
They're
Bryson
ISOs
800.
at least.
Yeah.
They're like extended mag ISOs or snipers.
Exactly. So that's really cool. And I like that. So then whenever I die, immediately on the next raid, I can have another ISO with a 45 round mag and a long barrel. Like, that's great. That's really cool. And that makes killing players really worthwhile and enjoyable. And it also incentivizes me heavily to hold on to those things when I find them in raid, because I know I can take them out as insurance, not insured weapon slot, but in the general sense, insurance for whenever I do die. That thing is now in my contraband stash, and I know that. Why can I not do this with anything else? Large backpack, armor vest, gas mask to a lesser extent, kill streaks to a lesser extent.
Agreed.
That sucks. Kill streaks is actually another pretty good one. If I'm holding a UAV and I find another one and I am about to exfil, okay, well, it's going to get converted to XP, so I guess I'll get fucked.
I guess I'll just pop it for no reason.
Exactly.
I don't care about the XP.
Which is always what I end up doing. So instead, what you should be able to do is take the fucking UAV that's in your backpack out of the raid, don't convert it to XP, let me store it in a stash, and then again, all right, we have to go to Ashika and we have to do this really hard contract. Bring those UAVs you guys have been saving, because I want to have all the intel I possibly can, because this is going to be a really hard mission to do. And we've been preparing for it by saving UAVs and putting them in the stash. But you can't do that. And that's like one thing they could change pretty easily. That is one of my biggest gripes with DMZ, because it feels really cool that you can do it with weapons. It's a shame you can't do it with anything else. And again, they're going to address most of this with the operator, active duty is what it's called. The active duty operators or whatever. So I guess that's cool, but it's, what is it, like 3? It's basically like you're getting a stash that can only hold backpacks, and you can hold a max of 3 backpacks. And then you're getting another stash that can only hold gas masks, and you can hold a max of 3 gas masks. Why don't we stop with the active duty weird shit you guys are doing and just give us a stash?
And that's the thing. And since they added this active operator, that to me shows that you're never getting a whole out of raid stash. Exactly, and this is their compromise.
100%.
Because I was going to say they could have left one. You have one operator and say, your contraband stash is 20 items. They could have made like 20 guns, no matter what the size. I was going to say they could have made like just a general. They could have just called it stash, player inventory. And like it could have been 50 total slots, 50 squares. And something like a backpack takes up 4 squares, like a 2x2. Something like a gun could take up, maybe a 2x4 or something like that, depending on the length of the gun. Like essentially just like Tarkov, like whatever you can fit in there, you can max out. And if you try to get out with a large backpack in one of your raids and you don't have a slot in your inventory because you have other backpacks and kill streaks and gas masks in there, then it'll just say, could not be sent to stash, converted to XP, whatever. because there's no room in your stash for it.
There you go.
But yeah, so this was their way of doing it for sure. Just add, multiple operators, which I think it sounds okay, but it'll be, I don't know. I don't, it's not going to be bad. It's not going to make the game worse. I think it's just going to be a little weird now, because it's going to be like, I'm going to want to do raids with each of my ungeared player to then get all of them with 3 armor vests and backpacks. So I'm going to spend hours doing that just to extract and get that gear to then go back to the first operator and like start doing missions, I think. So
Yes.
I don't, it feels like it's going to make you waste time playing the game just to get all your operators built up or something. I don't know. It's a little weird. I would have much preferred just one operator with some sort of stash, but that's not what we're getting. It seems like ever. So,
And that's exactly what I said last episode, is that because they're implementing this, we're never getting the stash we should be getting.
mm-hmm.
And they've copied Tarkov so much with DMZ that I don't know why they wouldn't go the extra step and just add a stash. Even if they didn't want to have the square shit, make a stash with 50 slots and you could put anything in any slot.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be as detailed as Tarkov or anything.
Or even get rid of the contraband and just add a stash. So then you have to use that stash
Replace
space
the
for guns too.
Right.
So if you want to stock up on more backpacks or something versus guns, you can do that.
Exactly.
You know, I think there's better ways they could do it it's not difficult for them to add it all to the game, but it's just for some reason I don't know. I guess they don't think it's a good idea. They haven't thought of it. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing I'll say, though, is the active duty shit is going to be better than what we have now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then I can, like, actually have a second. Like, if we're trying to do, like, okay, we're going to spend this afternoon gearing up all of our active duty operators, because tomorrow we're going to try this insanely hard faction mission, and we're going to be dying a lot. But tomorrow, that's when I'm refilling my Adderall prescription. So that's when we just want to spend the whole afternoon grinding. And now I have all my large backpacks all set up. And when I die on the first raid, I'm immediately ready to get right back in and try the hard mission again. So this is better, but it's an inelegant solution. And it means we're never getting the correct solution, which is a shame.
Yeah. Next thing here, plates are too rare. It would make total sense and it would be okay if everything else was rare in DMZ, but everything else is not rare in DMZ except for
gold
plates.
Bars, solid gold 24 karat bars than fucking armor plates.
Well, I don't know about
Ceramic
that,
armor
but
plates.
but yeah, it's like you find a munitions box everywhere, which refills all of your ammo, your lethals, your tacticals, but like I can't find one plate anywhere ever. So that's a little frustrating. Again, it would make total sense if the loot was low, but the loot is not low. It's just the loot for plates is way too low. So it does not feel right at all. It's very frustrating. Because like every time you fight AI, you don't die to them usually because they're bad, the basic AI. But they always crack your plates. They don't miss. They'll crack one plate every time you start shooting at one, pretty much. So, like, you're just constantly replating because of that. So you're fully plated and you don't get one tap to, like, a player with a sniper or something if you have a 3-plate vest. And then none of the standard AI drop plates ever, it seems. Like, the vast majority of them will not drop a plate. So I'm not sure exactly how it works with the armored AI, but I don't think they drop a guaranteed plate every time, but they for sure need to. At least one guaranteed plate every single time. And the standard AI need to drop it more often than they do. They drop their gun every single time. They'll drop other shit. What else do they drop? I guess not much. It's usually just the gun actually. Gun and some ammo. Yeah, drop a plate on them. I mean, I don't know. We end up like the most important thing to buy that we keep doing now is just going to a buy station. We all buy like 9 plates and throw those in our backpack. It's like, cool. It's a waste all my backpack space with plates, I guess. Which I guess doesn't matter. You don't need anything else unless you're trying to get out with mission items. But yeah, it's just spawn more of them. The loot's other loot isn't rare, so make the armor plates not rare either.
That's what's weird about it. Yeah, that's what's weird. It's like if everything was rare, okay, but nothing's rare except for arguably the most important item you could possibly have, which is health. It's very strange.
Especially because you can spawn in with munitions box. Every single raid, you spawn in with that. So it's like, okay, our team can have 3 munis, but I can't find one plate after we just killed 30 standard AI. Like, why is that the case? But I can refill 1,000 rounds of ammunition and can't get a plate. So that's a little annoying.
Pro tip, by the way, because munis are so common, you might think you really want one and it's handy to have ammo, which is true, but munis are so goddamn common, the field upgrade you should select is portable radar. It's really clutch.
I don't understand portable radar. It's such a small zone. I ended up running I ran recon drone a little bit. Recon drone is really good because it'll spot players through buildings. That one we ran. What else did we run? Jake was running something. What was it?
It was portable radar. Oh, and then he ended up running...
No.
Well, he's the one that gave me the portable radar idea.
Oh, that's a terrible idea. But I guess nothing else is good anyways.
It was that.
Yeah, what are the other ones? Like trophy system, inflatable decoy, DDoS. Yeah, I guess nothing. So I would say recon drone is a really good one to run.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought, but you're right. Like a bomb drone, it'll show you everyone, even if they're in a building. It won't let you ping them, but it'll show them. That's a great idea. But portable radar was really good on the island.
Yeah, that would make sense, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, next thing here, we've said this since the day Warzone launched, but there needs to be a difference on the mini-map of a player and an AI in a vehicle. You don't know what you see a red vehicle on the map driving. You don't know what it is. Yep. You have no clue. You would think it's going to be a player, right? It's so simple. Same shit in DMZ. Make the fucking, or same thing in Warzone. Make the fucking AI choppers, vehicles, a different color. Make them pink. Make players red. It's so easy. I don't understand why they haven't made this change. They must not want to make the change. They want to just make you confused as to whether it's a player or an AI. But it's not fun, because if I see a player car driving, I want to chase them. But it's like, okay, is this AI player? What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So it's annoying, because sometimes the AI will drive crazy and you'll think, oh, it's a player driving. Nope, it's just the AI losing control of their vehicle and driving off the road.
Yeah.
And then you'll see like a vehicle going straight down a road, like, oh, this is probably AI. No, it's just some guy. It's Jerry, who just got off work at the steel mill, just driving straight down the middle of the road with 6 guys on the top of his truck. Cool, you know?
And
so it's like, you can't always tell.
Go into oil. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm gonna drive like an AI. So they
and you did, AI. And you did. Yeah. That's why they didn't start shooting at us, probably, actually, because we drove straight up on a truck, just going straight,
like on the road, turn signals,
turned all slow. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I don't.
It's fucking
get
insane.
It's a different color. I fixed it for you. Make the icons a different color. It bugs me so much. That's not even just a DMZ thing, but it's more common in DMZ since they drive around in vehicles in random spots. So change the fucking color so I know what it is.
Yeah, completely.
And then last thing here from me, the AI reinforces areas too quickly. It's not fun and like ruins the immersion of a mode like DMZ when you clear out every armored AI from some building. As soon as you're killing the last one, there's already a Black Hawk, a Little Bird landing outside Little Bird, shadow companies jumping out, they're rappelling down from the Black Hawk, and there's already 20 more of them on you. It's like, I just took the time to clear this area. Why are they already back? It's not fun to just fight them constantly. Again, they're not hard to kill. It just feels like a waste of my time. I'd rather fight more AI at a different area when I move to a different POI, not continually getting attacked at the same POI. So sure, they can reinforce them, but make it like actually like 3-5 minutes later once I've just already left, and it reinforces for when another team comes or something. I don't know. It just feels stupid, I think.
Yeah, there was one particular instance where it was like a joke how much they were reinforcing. I don't remember where or what the situation was, but I was like, this is way too crazy. Yeah. And that's like that's like a separate issue than whether or not, like, the number of AI. I think the number of AI in Moz is fine, like the amount of them, but there are certain areas where they're this is what it was. They're unlimited AI. I'm trying to hit a buy station and I can't. Not because they're like threatening me, like they're not going to kill me, but if 8 AI roll up and I'm trying to look at the buy station, see what's in the inventory, because it isn't a standardized inventory, by the way. And the AI just kept coming, and I eventually just actually didn't use the buy when I otherwise would have, because they're constantly fucking funneling in. I kill 10 of them, they're dead. Cool. Go back to the buy, they're back. So yeah, that is dumb. Not a huge issue most of the time, at least in our experience yet. But when it is an issue, it's unbearably cringe. Yeah. And the problem with that is that the AI are not worth killing. That's the issue with the AI. So in like
they don't drop anything good.
Exactly. Like in Tarkov, for example, there are a couple of reasons to kill scavs. Number one, a lot of your missions will require you to. Number two, if you don't kill them, they can 7 mil buckshot you from 245 miles away.
Well, walking backwards with a shotgun at their hip, yeah.
Yes, so they're also very threatening, so you have to kill them or get the fuck out of the way immediately. So they're worth killing for the danger they pose. And they also are worth killing, again, for tasks you're on, because oftentimes you have to kill scavs. That's like the point of the task. But also, they can have, because there's a stash in Tarkov, they could have a fucking red key card in their pockets. They could have like, they won't, but they could. They could have very, very valuable items on them, or items you need for a task. Yeah, exactly. So even though there are AI in Tarkov, it's not an issue because they're worth killing. Always. But the problem is in DMZ, the AI are not worth killing. Because if I need plates, I'm not going to kill an AI for them. I'm going to lose plates doing that.
Yeah.
I don't need like to level up my sniper rifle, so it's not worth killing them for XP.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to drop any valuable item I can sell on the flea market. There isn't one. So once I have literally any gun, there's now no reason for me to kill AI. That's the biggest problem with the AI. Not really even their difficulty or lack thereof. It's just that there's no point in killing them. So they're just a nuisance. That's a good point. They just become a nuisance, and then you just avoid them. You're just like, oh, there's AI over there. Drive through them, drive around them, walk around them.
Yeah, they'll be shooting at you as you drive. I mean, you'll have to kill some if you have to go to a certain area to like grab an item for a mission, but yeah, you just kill them because you have to grab whatever items there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, they don't drop anything good. Especially, why does the Juggernaut not drop anything? Did we just get unlucky? Do we not know what to loot?
Yeah, that is weird.
We killed two or three Juggernauts.
Multiple. I think
and not a single one dropped anything. Like, you can't even pick up their minigun or anything. Like, I thought,
there should be a chance for like an advanced UAV, maybe.
There should be. They're a fucking pain to kill, dude.
Yeah, or like some other rare item that's worth it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. That every AI drops their shitty gun and then the Juggernaut drops nothing.
Case. Yeah.
I mean, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of sums it up, that they're just not worth killing. So, like, to me, the AI is at a point where they're not annoying on Al-Mazrah, really, but they're almost just too easy. I'm not sure exactly how I feel yet. You know, it's like, since, as we talked about, DMZ players, not the best players in the world in general, and AI can be killed in like 1 or 2 bullets, there's not much of a risk. That is something else this is lacking, is there needs to be some sort of risk, which is why I wish there was more people willing to PvP, because that's where the risk is. Because if the AI is too good, then they're annoying to fight and it's just not fun like you was at one point. And now they're so easy, but they're in a fine spot, I think, for what they should be. But there's not enough of a risk because players aren't willing to PvP. Players aren't fighting us. We've had a hunt contract on us like numerous times, and I swear to God, people don't push us. Yeah. There was one where not one time it went above 1 bar. It's like, what? Why did you pick up the hunt contract? What are you doing? Yeah. No one tried to come to us. So it's like people are just unwilling to fight. And that's what would make the mode so much better if there was a risk because of that. So yeah, I think if I would make a change to the AI, it's maybe just don't make them do more damage to you, or don't spawn more of them. But I think it would be make it so they take an extra bullet or 2 to kill. I'm not 100% positive, but I swear it felt like ARs would one-tap normal...
With a headshot, they do.
ARs one-tap normal scavs with a headshot. That's too easy. Like, how did we go from every AI sponging 12 bullets when DMZ launched to now every single one of them can be killed with 1 headshot to an AR? Like, I don't know. It's just... I think it's too easy at that point. So I think, if anything, I'd prefer maybe less AI if they're going to make a change with the number of AI, and instead require them a few more bullets to kill. Don't make it a 1 headshot for ARs. Make it a 2 headshot, 3 or 4 bullets to the chest or something. I feel like that would be more fun rather than just spawning a bunch of them in one area, maybe. I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think it's a really hard problem to solve because they're not worth killing. So like kind of no matter what you do to them, you're going to want to avoid them, you know, whether they are really strong or they have a bunch of health or they're complete dog shit like they are now, kind of no matter what, because there's no reason to kill them, they're going to be annoying. That's why they're annoying, is because there's no reason to kill them. So they're just, if they're shooting at you, they're annoying because you have to put on another plate. Or it's loud or whatever. Or they're stopping you from hitting the buy station. So I think if the AI were worth killing, then they would be in a good spot. But the way to make AI worth killing requires fundamental changes to DMZ that are not going to be implemented anytime soon, if ever. For example, the only thing I could think of that they could maybe implement, but even this wouldn't make me personally kill AI, is if they had like a 1% chance to drop a weapons case. Like that is the only thing that's in the game now that could be easily implemented that would make the AI worth killing. And again,
there's too many AI though, so you'd find one every single raid if you kill enough.
1% would be too high. Yeah, exactly. So it's just a hard problem to solve, because if you add like a flea market and a bunch of items, well then this is very easy. You have them drop random shit, and then by virtue of that, there'd be a chance there's some rare item or whatever. But they're not going to do that, you know.
I think that could be that either way. Yeah, I think they should just drop a random piece of loot every time. Because like there was that one quest where you have to find IFAKs and bandages.
Yeah.
That was one of the hardest quests we had to do so far, finding IFAKs.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's true.
Maybe just have them drop a random piece of loot, and that could range from a gold bar to a battery or something.
Yeah, you're right.
Just give you some sort of reason to shoot them and kill them and actually look at their bodies. The other thing is they'll drop something that's like activate like a little mini UAV, and it like sweeps a very small area. It's like a portable radar. Those are common. And do the regular AI, are they the ones that drop stronghold key cards? I think they are.
I think they can.
They drop those as well, but
there's too many.
There's actually too many. I'm not kidding. You'll find, I think, more stronghold key cards than armor plates. That's not an exaggeration. I have so many stronghold key cards now. I bring in like 2 or 3 every raid. Yeah, because I'm like, we have so many, and you find so many of them. May as well bring them in and just open up random strongholds that we spawn next to. So yeah, that they do drop those, but I would rather it just be random piece of loot.
You're right.
Something super rare, something really common, because they have a lot of quests where it's like, you know, a lot of these tier 5 quests, it's like you have to find 8 gold bars and extract with them, not in one raid, but if you find one, you're like, oh shit, this scav had one of my gold bars I needed. Like maybe I'll just extract now or something. I think that would add something else to the game that's lacking.
That's true. That's a good idea too, because even if you're not on a contract, if they can drop a rare or a random item of any kind, then they might drop, like a gold bar. And like, even if you're not doing a contract, that's good, because then at least you can you get more XP, I guess, or you could go sell it at a buy station. And now you have a fuck ton more cash to buy some kill streak or a vehicle or a backpack, because they sell medium backpacks at buys. That would make them I would be way less annoyed having to kill 8 of them, because then I'd be like, oh, well, I guess there's a chance there's something cool here or valuable, you know?
Yeah.
And then if you are on a contract mission, then it makes it even more worthwhile. So yeah, that's a good idea. I agree with you. Yep. And they could do it very easily. Yeah. And it would make sense.
It would make complete sense.
Some random dude could have bandages in his pockets. That makes too much sense. Yeah.
Exactly. Or a cell. I mean, they have a bunch of weird piece of loot in the game. Cell phones, batteries. Yeah.
Right.
Just drop those, you know?
Yeah.
Some guy's walking around with a graphics card in his pocket. I'm not judging him, man. I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah.
Just dropping a graphics card.
He's going to go build a PC afterwards.
Fuck. There was one more thing I thought of that now I lost. Oh, damn it.
You lost it, huh?
Oh! Let us loot backpacks off of players. When we squad wipe a group of 6 when we're 2-mans and I can't pick up their large backpacks, come on, man. Why?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that'll ever change since backpacks aren't in Warzone anymore. I feel like they don't even they're not even going to think about those changes any longer. And it'll just never be that way. But that would be such a good way, because large backpacks aren't super common. So if you kill someone with it, it's like, oh, damn, this dude was geared. Just let me take it from him then. I got that kill. I squad wiped and let me have his backpack. Because medium backpacks, simple to find. You can get them at a buy station, and you find a lot of them in duffel bags. But large backpacks, in another case, let me loot them off a body. But last observation for me here. DMZ is way, way, way more fun than I gave it credit. I had more fun playing DMZ in Season 2 than most of Warzone. Sheik Island is fun here and there, but can get frustrating. We've said plenty of times how there's just no reason to play DMZ since the rewards suck. And they do suck. I don't care about XP. I don't care about leveling up. I don't care about the blueprint I got that I won't use because it has horrible attachments on it. But just going through and selecting missions with your squad and completing those missions is enough, actually, to be a good time. There is enough there to just do and play the game to do those missions. For what? Not much, unless you can get double XP and weapon XP, stuff like that. It's kind of cool. Weapons cases, which are rare blueprints that you extract with. And
we got an RPK blueprint, which if that was a gun I used, if I was a piece of shit, that would be actually pretty cool. I would use it. But that's exactly. Weapons case. That's not even a mission reward.
Yeah. So there's enough to do in the missions itself to keep you playing. For sure, but the rewards aren't good or anything. I think the sentiment will change once Warzone ranks drops, and then it does feel like there's a reason to play Warzone. But Warzone, you're playing to have fun. There's a risk there. You want to win. You don't want to die and lose, and it gets frustrating. But DMZ, I do understand it now, and there are reasons to just play the game. Just do the missions, grind out the missions. Gives you a reason to hop back on and play it all the time.
And
so it was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Actually do get cool at these later tiers. That's something we never looked at.
No, they don't.
Oh,
yeah, okay. No.
Yeah, well, Tanner looked at it, I guess. Yeah.
It's just like more XP, like 25,000 XP.
I think it should be the case that for every story mission, so there's a faction called White Lotus, and there are 9 missions and then one story, tier 1 story mission. So if you do 8 of the 9 regular ass tier 1 White Lotus missions, you unlock the ability to attempt the tier 1 story mission. I think every one of these story missions, the reward needs to be an operator skin. That would be really fucking cool. You don't need to do that many skins as a art guy or developer or whatever. And it would absolutely deeply incentivize me to play DMZ even more.
Yeah.
If there were, and it seems like it would be pretty easy. Like, okay, a Shadow Company operator skin. What should that look like? Well, you guys have already developed the character model and operator skin for Shadow Company AI in the game. Let us also equip that. Yeah. And maybe change up how it looks, a couple accoutrements for each tier of story mission. But you have to make what? 5 times 4. That's 20 operator skins for all of DMZ. Not that much. And you could make them all be really fucking cool. Or not. You probably won't. You guys don't make very good operator skins. But some of them would be cool. And that would be a really good reward, and it doesn't have to be every single mission reward.
Yeah.
If it was just the story mission rewards. And operator skins, I mean, they signify something. That's why operator skins are just the best rewards in general, is because they signify something. If I am in Warzone and I see some guy with the nuke skin, number 1, I immediately recognize what that operator skin is. Number 2, I think it looks cool. And number 3, I know how he got it. So that tells me a lot about that player, which is a very cool reward. And it's obvious. It's obvious in the pregame lobby. It's obvious in game. And it's something that's like really worth grinding for.
Yeah.
If there aren't going to be that many stakes in terms of in-raid lootables that you can take out and sell on the flea market or whatever, you could at least have really cool rewards that is not that hard to do that would make DMZ so much more attractive.
Yeah.
And I wish they would do that. That's my biggest thing. With that said, I've definitely been having more fun on DMZ than I anticipated. Again, like I said earlier, I think my biggest, what I was most excited about, I thought if I'm going to be having fun, it's going to be because of the missions, and they're actually going to have like cool blueprints that I'll actually use, or they'll be challenging or fun or whatever. And actually, what's the most fun about DMZ is the PvP, which they foster a lot more than I thought they did, with the existence of the hunt contract and the very limited number of exfil choppers. There's a lot more PvP than I thought there would be if you want it. And it's also fairly avoidable, which I think is really cool. So yeah, it's definitely more fun than I thought, for sure.
Yeah, last thing, you were talking about the rewards. This is one of the tier 5 missions. For this reward I'm about to read, you get a contraband Kastov 762. So you get some Kastov 762 in your contraband stash with random attachments and 20,000 XP, which XP doesn't matter. Here's what you have to do to get that: a contraband shitty gun. Kill 20 operators from the surface of water with a TAC M with high velocity rounds, a Luca Bandera scope, and a specific barrel. What? 20 operators, which are 20 players, with a TAC M, one of the worst guns in the game, floating on water, and you get a contraband gun for that, which then you can go into the next raid and lose. That's it. Really?
That's insane.
Like, they should at least be making weapon skins, not blueprints. A colored skin you can use on any gun should be some of these hard missions.
Yeah.
Some different color, some different design, but I don't know. The rewards are definitely not worth it. You're not playing DMZ for the rewards at all because they suck. The best thing you can get is double weapon XP. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a perfect example of what we mean. The rewards are just not worth it at all. So, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, overall more fun than we thought.
For sure.
I'll say this, are we going to play much more DMZ? Maybe before Season 3. Maybe even when Season 3 drops. I don't know. But the things that they have been focusing on, I think the biggest thing they need to do, that they'll actually do, is make the rewards significantly better, which I don't think they're going to do.
No.
That's the biggest thing that would get me to go back when I probably otherwise won't, to be honest. I'm going to be playing ranked maybe if I can get people to play with, or just playing pubs with one-shot snipers again. See ya. DMZ, and especially for the people I play with too. It's not like I can choose whether I play DMZ or ranked Warzone. If ranked Warzone is fun for the people I play with, then I don't even have the option to play DMZ. So one thing that would maybe get me back is cool operator skins or cool even weapon camos maybe. But if the rewards for a tier 5 mission where you kill 20 players with a dog shit gun with particular attachments is a contraband gun, kill yourselves in game. That's insane. Yeah. So I'm never playing for the mission rewards. So then why are you playing? For the fun of it. Okay, but what if like Warzone's more fun? Well, then I'm never playing DMZ again. That's a shame.
I don't know if COD points are rewards, but you should get COD point rewards for that.
Another cool one. Yeah.
I mean, even 100 COD points are more valuable than one contraband gun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah. So anyway, what were you gonna say?
No, I'm good.
Okay. That's it, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We will see you guys next week. Reminder, we post our schedule every Monday on our Discord, our Twitter, and our YouTube. You can find links to all that wherever. Also, thedropshot.com. We have a website. You can find links to everything we have there. We still have a sale ongoing on our merch store. Use promo code BLOWOUT for 50% off anything that's still in stock in our store. You can go to thedropshot.com/store to find those items. And reminder, follow us on Kick. Kick.com/thedropshot podcast. We're probably going to start streaming there next week. We'll be multi-streaming, so we'll still be on YouTube and we'll still, of course, be on our website. But we need more followers on Kick. We only have 27 right now. Change it. Support gambling. Support ruining the lives of impressionable children. By supporting a website owned by stake.com. And I'll get more into that topic this month on our Patreon behind the scenes episode. Oh, are you sure it's moral to stream on Kick? If any of you are thinking that, first of all, yes. Second of all, I'll address that in our behind the scenes episode. And if you want to listen to that, patreon.com/thedropshot. Best way to support the show. You get ad-free episodes and early access episodes of the podcast. You also get 5 bonus episodes, up to 5 bonus episodes per month, minimum of 3 episodes per month, all Call of Duty related, or the vast majority of the time. There are other little benefits. You can check it out. But if you wanted extra content or no ads or early access, or if you just want to support the show, patreon.com/thedropshot. Hope you enjoyed. Let us know your thoughts. Stay humble.
Stay humble.